you know, all the teams get their chance to play their first match on stage, as I'm getting word.
Oh,
there is a slight
you were building
issue.
up so well. It was like, this is Valdez's one where he's like, we're going to set the stakes of this draft. These players are finally taking the stage. Kanavi's playing his first LCK match in GTG Global Park. And then, well, we'll have a little bit of a...
Well, Wolf, you're no stranger to pauses.
No, apparently it's like...
Whenever Wolf is on, it's... We got problems.
Yeah, we got pauses. I was not...
Because Wolf is actually the head technician, and when he's up here casting instead, you know, things kind of go awry.
The one crazy... you remember when we had the DDoS stuff? I mean, that was probably the craziest pause meta of all time. The game that had to be, like, delayed before we decided for a while we were going to have pre-recorded. Like, I wasn't there for that day. That's, like, the biggest pause I've dodged. And... to be honest, I was pretty thankful for it. Although, watching the game at home, you know, it's your day off, but you still got to lock in. I was kind of like, when do I need to lock in? Should I go for a run? I'm not sure. All right, well, no DDoS, no issues here. The draft is remade. So, as you were saying.
Yeah, we did have the timer kind of bouncing around there, but this is going to be the first time these two teams hit the Rift for LCK Cup. And Malphite is going to be the first ban. I just think that, you know, especially these two teams are going to be a couple of the teams that have fantastic preparation. They know exactly what they want to ban. There's not a lot of wiggle room, even in a new meta, as they have put in a ton of practice. And so far, it's just a lot of very high prio OP stuff that's getting banned away.
The Malphite ban very early here for HLE. No intent to pick that, as Yunara will get banned away from FaZe. I think that is incredibly warranted. His laning phase has been so incredibly powerful. It's he and Keria who were able to consistently generate leads against Guma and Delight that won them the Kespa Cup finals. And see what this first pick is going to be as 280 carries are taken away. Zeus will get his hands on the Rumble. Sometimes the more things change, the more they stay the same. As this Rumble pick has been so relevant, feels like for 3 years now, and has always been a safe, blind top pick. Yeah.
Same for Rise nowadays. Just feels like you can't go wrong with this, especially in the hands of Faker, who has multiple cinematics where he is Rise. Rise and Pantheon, definitely a lot of CC and lockdown already.
The Wukong we did see earlier today instead of the Vi, you know, we talked about Vi could have been better in that scenario, is going to be picked up this time for Kanavi, considering Silas for Zeka is one of his best picks, but he will ultimately go with the Taliyah. So they have Taliyah, Vi Rumble, really strong top side here. The Pantheon is an incredibly powerful flex in this draft here for T1, who do have the Global of the Rise as well. So they're winning in terms of map presence, but only slightly for the moment. See if a high-profile 80 carry pick comes through here to keep things a little bit open-ended, or if they're going to go for a counter pick for Doran. Looks like that Ambessa, and we talked about for Shu as a potential pick. Well, this time you go through for Doran. Now, it could still be a flex, of course.
Yeah. Double flex could happen. Rel going to be banned away here. I was wondering if maybe we would see something like an Ezreal, especially into that Vi, but not going to be proud picked at least. They're going to take away Rel from Delight. Certainly a fantastic amount of hard engage that can kind of set everything up alongside of the Vi for the Taliyah and Rumble to do the damage. And of course it is Delight, one of his favorite picks.
Let's see. I mean, the Ezreal seems so incredibly safe here. And it is something that FaZe has already showcased very early on in his time on this roster that he is incredibly proficient on. And we'll see the Rel taken away, which is kind of niche right now in this meta, but really suits the draft that Hunter Life Esports have together. Same with the Nautilus. And so taking away point-and-click CC for that safe 80 carry that FaZe will be playing, whether it is the Ezreal or something else. Zeri, for example, still could be relevant here. And the Bard was taken away in terms of ranged push. Maybe they go for a Karma ban as well if that's what they're most concerned about. They'll take away FaZe's Aphelios. I remember Guma's first Penta on Aphelios so many years ago. I think it was even against D plus Kia at the time. I think in 2021. He's not going to be playing at this game. He'll take it away from FaZe, his successor here on T1. And will it be Ezreal or will it be the Lucian pushing lane with Braum available? I mean, it still could be support Pantheon. We're going to find out everything in just a moment with that 5th pick, and this is how you use that 5th counter pick as T1 to the fullest of his potential.
Especially because, you know, all of them can play whatever champ that you are flexing. Thinking about the Corki here has definitely been very powerful as, you know, a first game and fearless kind of pick. It can go essentially with anything. It spikes really hard on 2 items. And it's just a strong pick nowadays. Doesn't necessarily need a specific support, although they could pick up the Nami.
Nico available. And that has historically been one of the strongest lanes that you could go for here. Delight's no stranger to the pick. The Nami has been more standard. The Alistar gives you a really strong front line that I think they pretty desperately need if they're going to look for late game team fights into this draft here for T1. It is going to not be the lane power that I think they're expecting us. This is a throwback. Okay. Well, it will be Pantheon going to the jungle here, the Ambessa top, and the Emilio to give some extended range and lane power to this Lucian. Definitely not as common as some of the other picks we could have seen here. And it is going to be not that useful in terms of ult here either into this draft. I mean, there are some CCs you could absorb, but just really going to be looking for some additional range here for FaZe. And it's one of those niche support picks that really says the AD carry is the main character. We are drafting through winning this lane. We are drafting through mid-game spikes and an insane lead going into the late game. Kind of like Yuumi, but a little bit different in this case.
Yeah, for sure. I think that, especially that extra range, and nowadays the Lucian building Essence Reaver as it has been changed back, I think that they have tried to find an angle to make Lucian kind of the main character, as you were alluding to. And this is certainly one of the ways to do it. You've also got Emilio, who is ranged into Alistar, which can give FaZe a little bit of extra room in that lane up against Guma and Delight. So very curious to see how this one is going to go down. The drafts have been selected. We're getting ready to jump onto the Rift here for game number 1 of T1 versus Humble Life Esports. Somebody extra tried to get in on that that fan chant.
Sound like Junke was leading it. I'm not even 100% sure if that's accurate or not, but
I think it was just one of the staff like normal, but one of the fans was also doing the Hana Dursit, and I was like, oh, I guess you can do that if you want.
It's against formality.
It's not the meta,
yeah,
you could say. It's like picking Teemo.
Some fan groups would be very upset about that in older fan chant metas. So I think the identity difference here is we will have a little bit of a trade. Barrier popped, perfectly timed. The identity of these comps is really interesting because today we've had in our first series like scaling kind of in a little bit more frontline favored drafts into, you know, the draft that looks for single target pick. The single target pick is there for Hanwha in this draft, but they did end up with the Alistar. T1 is kind of tempo based, and it has a really nice, well-rounded ending to the late game if it gets ahead, especially with the third item actualizer for Faker. So much damage that he can have with that. The side lane power of this Rise is also going to be a big threat. And Hanwha Life Esports need to be able to consistently pick off side lane targets and set up this Vi for success if they're going to be able to win this one. Not that they don't have any scaling and they still have pick potential later on in the game, but it does feel like if they fall behind, it becomes a little bit more tough to execute their composition.
Yeah, it certainly does feel that way, as already the bottom lane going pretty well for the Emilio and the Lucian, as we did expect. The runes, kind of what you would expect as well. Curious to see how Doran's going to do on the Ambessa up against the Rumble. Did see that she had an opportunity to pick that in game 1 up against Dudu's Rumble in our first match, but elected not to. To go for the Gasante instead, to try to just, you know, not die. But in this case, it is going to be Doran who's going to be fighting fire with fire up there in the top lane.
I do have in the bottom lane still control. You have a little bit of extra sustain with Milio, but that's not really what this is about. The heal could probably remove it from his kit and it would still be played for the same reasons. But you can see that they're chipping away. And it's a slight CS lead that is given here, but slight CS advantages aren't going to be what gets you the huge quest advantage that wins you the game. We'll have to see some jungle attention down there if they want to further anything. Scuttles are traded. And no incidents on the Rift just yet.
Yeah, no mistakes is another way to put it. Nobody really getting out of position or doing anything crazy.
A plate, perhaps?
Perhaps.
May have. Indeed.
There you go, Pace. Picking up all of that money. And Doran certainly fighting fire with fire. I think, you know, definitely a good idea for Life Esports Rumble in this meta. Very strong. You pick it first for Zeus, a guy who can take over lanes. And we'll see how he does, as Doran has been generally good against Zeus in these lanes that we have seen historically.
Yeah, that has been, he's kind of been Zeus' kryptonite a lot of the time on other rosters.
So we're just kind of running at him. He's just going to flash away, as now we got the Pantheon here. Doran's still pretty low as they're going all in for it, and he does get the first blood, but Kanavi is going to take a turret shot and has to flash away. Owner did have to flash in to save his top laner, so just a trade at the end of the day.
The kill going over to the Rumble, but the assist gold going over to Doran, so you could argue both sides feeling okay with the exchange. Maybe feeling better if you can get Faker, but he does have phase rush. And
kind of an insane dodge. Did you see that? Yeah. The Q from the Vi just went behind him and Faker just stepped forward. Not what you would expect.
It's like he did a Dark Souls roll.
It did look like that. It was crazy. It was last second, too. It almost looked like Kanavi pulled it short or something, but I think it was just a dodge from Faker. Delight tries to go in for these trades, but I don't think you're really ever winning that, at least this early on.
It's like you have to use your health, though. Otherwise, they get more damage to the turret. They get more plate value. You have to kind of just sacrifice your health to try to stem the bleeding. It feels a lot of the time, and if you do have Unsealed as teleport, oftentimes that doesn't even feel that bad, but they will be able to sink their backs here now. So watch this one more time. Kanavi's engaged here. Doran has flash, so fairly optimistic. Does flash the knock up there, or the Q, but does end up getting the damage from the Rumble in from the tank, and it's a trade of kills. The Rumble picking up the gold means that maybe he could try to further this advantage or further an advantage later on. He is behind in experience at the moment, did opt for that Ignite, as Rumble doesn't use the shield that well.
Yeah, and certainly going to help him get even farther ahead in the lane if he's able to utilize it here. Saw Owner kind of dodge out of the bush from the missile right before they were going for the dive. It almost looked like they didn't think that Kanavi was there, and he wanted to try to set up kind of a 2v1 if Zeus was going to go for the one-on-one dive, but ended up being a little bit late and had to flash in to try to save the play. So one of those small little things that did happen. Faker is trying to gank top, and Zeus does not have flash. So
yeah, I mean, this Realm Warp play could absolutely work.
Trying to bait him in. There's the Realm Warp, and an easy lineup for Doran to set it up, and Faker with the gank in the top lane. Zeus trying to turn it here on the Doran. It's not going to happen, and Doran even gets given the kill on top of it all, so a very nice setup there from Faker.
And Zeka doesn't even have a crashing wave here into the mid lane. Faker loses very little for this. Just his ultimate is all that he expends. Zeka does not match the rotation. It's just a little bit too slow for the Weaver's Wall. And I mean, I don't want to chalk this up. I mean, he does get a plate ultimately here. It's not like he got nothing, but definitely not equivalent. I don't want to chalk this moment up to Taliyah being bad. We just are seeing Taliyah's kind of late to the play so far here at LCK Cup. Just not able to actually make those early Weaver's Wall plays successful thus far.
Right, trying to go in once again for a trade. Pace and Carrier will take that every time of the week, but this time Kanavi is here with flash and ults available. As now the Pantheon coming in, Owner trying to make a play to help them out, but Guma and Delight had already essentially disengaged, so not much going on there, but it's still going to be a good trade here for Paze and Keria. This is, you know, essentially what we expected with the duos and the draft, the way it did go, and that last pick, counter pick, essentially being held for Keria. One of the best guys to give it to, I would say.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, they are really running this bottom side. Owner gonna have a jump scare on him taking out those Raptors, but he was not able to get in there and get any kills for them, but was able to match Kanavi's rotation and is kind of impacting both sides of the map at the same time. Comes over there, covers for them, allows them to grab that second plate. And this is just, unfortunately for Hunter Life Esports, bit of a deficit, but nothing that they cannot overcome by any means here in this game. Nobody's died in the bottom side of the map. It's not like they've lost this turret or anything. There's not been crazy dives that they've failed to defend. And so the game does continue at a relatively even state.
Yeah. That's the thing when you get teams of this caliber, is that you're not going to see gigantic mistakes most of the time, and you're not going to see big swings early on. We've been seeing a lot of big swings early on, actually, before coming into this one, where teams get 2,000 gold ahead at 7 minutes and stuff like that. But essentially, it's just going to be slight lane leads and gold leads, or the lanes you would expect them in.
And speaking of, I mean, the Rumble still has that lead top side. And so Kanavi, knowing that Owner used his ultimate on the bottom side of the map and cannot come over and match him there, takes the Grubs out in a very decisive way there, gets all three, so denies some side lane power here to T1, so is bolstering some of their own. Not the strongest side lane composition, but Grubs are always important. Even impact what you can do after a team fight. It might be the difference whether you get a mid turret or not. So pretty big win here for Hunter Life Esports, who already had that first dragon in the pocket. So a pretty insanely close game, and I'm happy for it, because we've had, like you said, a lot of games that have been blown open wide early on. Now, some late dragon contests that haven't worked out, some lane disasters, some solo kills in the mid lane. This is just good old classic LCK.
Yeah, sitting back, relaxing. Can bro and brew, even though they're not in this series, I suppose. As we do have Owner bot once again, and that means that Kanavi has an angle here at the top lane.
Doran's flash is back.
He does have his flash. He is going to use his ult to actually get away from the Vi, and still just holds on to his flash the whole time until the equalizer comes down. And he took that little bit of extra damage at the beginning and the burn, and that means he is just dead.
If he doesn't get hit by the equalizer, he's definitely fine there. It might have even been able to help Faker continue to push there. Said Faker's just going to use his Realm Warp there to the top side and catch the wave and deny any sort of further play or follow-up onto Doran. The ult was phenomenal, but unfortunately the equalizer does catch him. And as a result, it's going to be Zeus who ends up picking up a second kill here. Faker grabs some plate gold on the top side, so the timing of this ult here for Doran is phenomenal, as he can essentially just completely juke the Vi ultimate with it, gets his shield, and then the equalizer is just perfectly placed. Not really on Doran in this one. Probably shouldn't have flashed after getting hit by it, but at the end of the day, now his flash is down and he dies.
Yeah. Could have definitely flashed as it was coming down, just barely able to dodge that first tick of damage, but unfortunately was not expecting it. It was kind of a weird, the way it all did play out. As Pace just going to hold the wave here in front of his turret. Going to make things even more painful. You see the CS numbers are exactly the same between him and Guma, but the gold difference is pretty large, as Pace has picked up some plate gold.
Yeah, that is the reason. And the Essence Reaper is done. This is where T1 want to live, is in the tempo lead, right? They have the advantage, and they're going to try to push it here top side.
Now, Owner's going in. No public execution here for Doran, but he's still going to exist under this turret. They're going to wait for the redive, as the spear is going to miss, and now Doran's going back in. They're missing everything, as they can just wait for another spear, and hopefully that gets the job done. But no, the shield is going to save him as well, and eventually Honor says, enough with it, I'll just get it done. It's Delight diving the turret, and he's going to go down. As we got Melio protecting Pace, he flashes away. There's so much pressure on the bottom side of the map, and I think eventually they should get this done, as Kanavi's getting low, but they still get the kill, and they get it over to Zeka's Talia.
A little bit sloppy on both sides here, but ultimately it is going to be a trade 2 for 2. Across the map. Faker will be one of the extra benefactors here of some plate gold in mid. Did not have his Realm Warp available to affect the bottom side play. I was pretty shocked that this all goes down the way it does so quickly. It's so forced, right? They want to try to get the most value out of this Gatling gun here for Guma. They put the damage on the Pays. And then the Weaver's Wall just doesn't happen. It's like still not happening. Finally comes out here, but Delight has gone in so early. That's a bit disjointed. Pace's flash is fantastic there, but ultimately against 3, as best as he tries, he's not going to be able to trade one back. Somebody fix that quirky Gatling bug. That's been going on for a while. Was that affecting the space earlier? There's another Realm Warp gank.
Yeah, and it looks like Zeus once again in a lot of trouble. No flash, no way for him to get out of this one. Just ults the wave, nearly actually takes out Faker, but all calculated in the end.
I mean,
Faker's just living in the top lane.
He embodies Rise as a person, and you'd mentioned the cinematics already, but he's basically just realm warping on cooldown. And again, into the top lane, he went Ghost. It feels like this meta is made for Faker to have that early Rise pick and play through a side lane. And so far, working decently for them. They don't have the same gold lead they had before, and it is a 2-Drake lead here for Hanwha Life Esports. They do have those grubs, but that is going to be the first turret to go over to this Ambessa, and still an incredibly close game. If it was a different Soul here, if it was Infernal Soul, you'd feel a lot better as Hanwha Life Esports. The Ocean is not worthless by any means, but doesn't feel as big of a prize as it could have been.
Certainly going to be something to look at if they do eventually get that Ocean Soul. Can help a little bit against, like a culling and stuff like that, but a lot of the damage from T1 will be committal, as this is the setup, just a straight up, old-fashioned from the river realm warp, and Zeus just doesn't have flash, so he's just dead.
Yeah. And, Zeka was trying to control the bottom brush with control vision and was pretty far away. Faker took his opportunity to roam up and find that realm warp angle. And so that is that. Goldie now up to 1,200 here for T1. As that turret goes over. Vandal Pipes built here for Delight, as we do have Shirelias instead of any of the healing tech. And they could have gone for here, which I do like, because speeding up this composition will definitely make it a lot more potent, and they can snowball a lot better with it. Essence Reaver, no longer an item advantage over Guma, but still incredibly strong at this moment in time for FaZe. Dead even in gold, really, between these bottom laners, but the spike is there for FaZe. Guma's going to come online a little bit later. Yeah. I mean, it's that second item.
Still props to Guma and Delight just being able to get out of what is a very annoying lane for the early parts of the game, and then eventually hopefully scaling up to see exactly what Corki can do. And as we do have, well, we had Kanavi. Oh no, he's going to stick around actually. Maybe thinking about going in onto Doran, as Owner is nearby and ulting in, as it's just going to be a straight up 2v2. The equalizer pretty good, but not good enough, as ends up being just Owner getting there first, landing the CC, and unfortunately Kanavi couldn't do much after his lane mate died.
Yeah, I mean, Owner shot first, and that's the end of the exchange there. Just cannot win it alone. The person down so quick. This is that Essence Reaver, and it hits.
Got to be careful when he doesn't have his Alistair nearby. Looking for the knockback here on Akaria. It's going to get him to use his ult at the end of the day.
Yeah, that was actually a lot committed to defend there, but it is successful. And, the ultimate there from Keria comes out, but you could really feel this Milio-Lucian combo at work here in these razor-thin margins where Delight just isn't quite there to peel. And he's like, I'm going in, I've got barrier, and I will just push Guma out of the lane. Shove this wave through. Doesn't get a kill, but man, they have a lot of silent pressure. Look at the top wave, bottom wave was controlled again by T1. As Doran is like the target. Man, get that Gatling gun out of here. Thanks, Fearless. Anyway, you see the ultimate comes through from Owner, as you already pointed out. You basically explained this already. They strike first. That Gatling gun on silent mode, man. It's a theater in here trying to.
Well, they do have two items now for FaZe, as he gets the Navori Flicker Blades, and now the Lucian even stronger. Was already strong, but just item by item, especially because Guma has not finished his Muramana and is pretty far away from doing so. They bait him in though. FaZe in a lot of trouble as he flashes and he still dies. And even with Owner coming in, not able to save him, the TP not ending up doing too much, but at least pushes Doran away.
Let's see what choice they make here now, because the Herald has spawned. Dragon's up in 25, but it's not up yet, so this is kind of awkward. They get a really nice punish here, but what can they use it for? I mean, the gold itself is really nice. Pulling that Lucian off the map is going to give them prio, and it looks like they're looking for Soul Point here. Let's see if T1 opt to match, because Faker does not have teleport. Obviously took the Ghost, and he doesn't have his Realm Warp. He's still in the area. As this is a really razor-thin margin that Hanwha Life Esports had as FaZe is running over, and it looks like they will just get this Dragon here. Owner looking for potential contest.
Yeah, we'll have to just wait and see if they go for the fight afterwards. Doesn't look like Owner's going to be able to do much there. As the equalizer's great in the choke. Owner puts up the shield, but immediately dies afterwards. So a little bit of a bonus treat for Humble Life Esports on top of the Dragon as they pick up the enemy jungler as well.
This is a huge win for Humble Life Esports. They get the soul point. They get the kill on the jungler who's just, trying to see if he can get a spear steal and is unfortunately just a little bit too close to the sun. Doran will be able to avoid this shove, so he's going to be totally fine. But T1 with the recall timers are going to try to rush down this Herald despite not having a jungler, and it looks like it's going to work out for them. There's no vision on this either. As we go back into this, FaZe steps forward here. Kanavi off vision. And they had control vision in the river. They thought that was enough, but the engage range of the Vi a little bit higher than I think FaZe calculated there. So he ends up going down, and this leads to a Dragon take. Now T1 look for an optimistic contest. Like, is there an angle here? Not really. Owner drops the spear. It gets dropped on by Delight. And there's just too much CC here. Puts up his shield, but can only delay the inevitable.
Yeah. Delight's Alistar. They banned the Rel, they banned the Nautilus, but the Alistar comes out. They work their way through lane, and now he's just going to be a menace the entire game. He offers that front line, also offers another source of engage alongside of the Vi. And a very safe one at that because, of course, it is Alistar. So, bit of a back and forth in terms of the gold difference over time, but now we're very much even in this game in terms of gold. Humble Life Esports, though, with 3 Drakes plus 3 of the Void Grubs, does mean it feels like they are slightly ahead at this point.
What I think about most right now is what can Faker get done in the next 3 minutes and 20 seconds, right? Because he has the Actualizer as his third item, likely. We've seen a few different variants, but probably will build it. And of course, those Rod of Ages ticks will come through here in just under 4 minutes time, and then he'll get an extra level. And he's going to be a big secondary damage threat because FaZe no longer ahead in gold, but still feels like he's ahead in terms of his power level right now over Guma. A lot can go wrong. Obviously, you can overstep and get caught in the mid lane, as we saw just moments before. But T1 do have this rise to kind of round things out. But one more lost team fight. The Ocean Soul goes over, and then it starts to feel like Humble Life Esports kind of have this game in their hands. They can control the map with the amount of control they'll get from said team fight. And side laning becomes a lot easier with that Ocean Soul. And then maybe Faker's win con doesn't necessarily come online. They're going to go ahead and drop this Herald down now and look for mid turret. A lot of members of Humble Life Esports here, and the potential wall for the deny.
Yeah, Cullen comes through, there's the wall, and it is going to be timed, actually. Okay, well,
not quite as good as what we saw earlier.
I guess he was scared to actually hit the turret, Like, he saved it, he didn't allow it to run into the wall, so he's going to keep HLE here for a little bit longer, but he's not going to do what we saw earlier from Career and actually ram it into the turret.
Ultimately, a successful defense here for Humble Life Esports. They don't even get the Crystalline Overgrowth proc on the turret. Humble Life handling that very well. And it's just Faker going straight back to sides up on the top side of the map. And this Lucian is no longer able to just walk up and kill pressure Guma. Like, he can trade with him, and the Muramana will transform soon. But if he goes too far forward, he's already been caught once. You will see Kanavi on this ward. We'll think twice about pushing up any further. But now, Humble Life Esports have stabilized. The 2-item spikes here for the Corki. Guma's probably sitting on a decent amount of money. He's backing right now. And this game gets a lot more interesting from here. T1, I think, did not quite get enough out of the lead that they had in the tempo advantage. And I think it all comes down to that pick onto FaZe where he kind of got baited in. That might be one of the moments that T1 look back at as kind of the table-turning moment for Humble Life Esports.
Yeah, you can see there's a ward there now.
Yep.
That spot that Kanavi came out of. But at the end of the day, just, again, that slight lead for HLE, and they're going to be looking for this Ocean Soul in 1 minute. Even going to steal some of the Raptors, continue to put on some vision pressure over here. There is nice one ward of vision in the river for T1.
And if you're playing Rise with no teleport, obviously with home guards, you can get back to sides quickly, but you have to play so defensively. Look at how careful Faker is right now on the bottom side when all this vision control is there for Humble Life Esports. He doesn't want to push up and try to kill that turret because Kanavi could be lurking, and in fact he was. If you die there and you don't have TP, you can't get back to the dragon fight, so he just has to kind of sit back, catch the waves. He is on the opposite side of the fight now, and they have cleared some of that vision. This very well may be the game-deciding fight here if Humble Life win it decisively. As T1 need to be very careful about this setup. All summoners up. Flash for everyone on the Rift.
Well, you were just talking about this, but this time T1 are here for Faker. And they're in the river first, which means that Kanavi can't overextend into that. We got the Realm Warp. They're trying to fight, actually, as Guma is going to Valkyrie into the wall. And now they engage here on a Kanavi. It feels like HLE not exactly playing together, but a nice knockback here on Owner. And it feels like maybe they just got poked out a little bit too much. They're just going to give the Drake away.
I think you just don't throw the game on this one. You lost half your health on the Corki, and some of the health is traded back on the Owner, but he has the Honey Fruit, so he's feeling okay about it. And they don't really have a great Weaver's Wall angle. It's so frustrating for Hanwha because up until that point, they had control of the Dragon, they had vision control, they had what seemed like a potential collapse angle onto Faker, but he played it cool, he played it slow. They were able to wrestle that vision back away and get their first Dragon of the game. They'll also pick up this additional turret here on the bottom side for the Mbessa, who's a full level up on Zeus in this game, has spent a lot more time farming. You can see it in the CS, you can see it in the gold lead. And the game just keeps going. It's still a very close one. And I think T1 played that pretty deftly.
Yeah, just essentially sticking together better as a team from the blue side, able to get control over the river allows you to do that. If they're the ones pushing into the darkness, can be very different. But essentially, it's just a Ocean Drake, a little bit of extra gold onto the Mbessa, who's Doran's doing a great job of pushing that side lane and trying to get even farther ahead. Already up to 2.5 items, whereas Zeus hasn't even finished that Zhonya's second. So feels like a very weak Rumble, all things considered, not really stacking a lot of damage. Is going to survive well, and the comp does have a lot of damage, but I do wonder about his impact as the game comes along and Thorin gets even more fed.
I think it's Hanwha, you really need to group and look for picks. And I know that sounds like one of the easiest things that, you know, because anyone could say that. It's a lot tougher to do in practice, but they have a lot of map control on the top side, right? They get that turret out, and essentially if they can play through vision control in any pocket, like for example the control they have over Baron right now, which is the next relevant objective, becomes a little bit more difficult for Faker to farm it up. He is going for that Actualizer third. You can see the chapter in his inventory. It's going to take a little bit longer before he finishes that one. That's going to be such a huge spike for him. The LDR is done for Pays. And if Faker dies in sides before an objective, which with Baron up, like, he can't TP back in, so he has to play this really slowly. And I think that the vision game here for Hanwha Life has been very impressive. They've been able to hold vision on these critical objectives. Now, they gave up control over the Dragon earlier on, and Guma ended up getting chunked out, so it didn't matter, but I'll give them credit where they deserve it. The vision game has been pretty insane.
Yeah, definitely has been. It's been mostly a fight for vision in this game, to be honest.
I mean, with these two teams, you can really feel the cheaper control wards for the supports. You know, it really feels like that is the main battle, and they're just constantly chucking two in and fighting over every single control ward, as you can see here. And Hanwha Life maintain control with their dive comp here of the Baron.
That's definitely been good plays so far. Faker, nice shout to just back away, but that does mean that HLE are going to be getting even more golds in the side lane. Pays trying to match that in mid as his jungler.
It looks like basically what T1 have decided is they're going to bank this on one big team fight here with Actualizer for Faker. They're just playing it slow. He's farming it out. They're like, we can win this game off one big team fight. We need that third item spike for this Rise. Let's not make any rash decisions. When they group for Baron, we grab a plate here, we grab a plate there, and sides. Faker gets what minions he can. He can't push up. He doesn't have TP. If he dies, we may lose the game. Does he have the Actualizer now? He just backed. He has it. This is the moment where T1 are ready to fight. Level 16 for this Rise as well. Nearly level 17 is just a few minions away.
Yeah.
He is a huge powerhouse in this game, and will be able to do way more damage throughput than the Taliyah could ever hope for. So it's a battle of long-term damage versus who gets picked, and Guma's positioning is going to be critical as well. He's got Falcon Flash, 3 items at the ready, almost has his 4th. This Dragon, again, it's just the big tense point. It's Kanavi.
Kanavi's going to send it. Does he have his team with him? He kind of does. Pays is going to get that flash off, though, as he's trying desperately to live, and he does not. As eventually he goes down, Doran exhausted in amongst 3 of them, and he's not going to be able to do much. Kanavi might eventually go down to Faker here, but it looks like HLE are winning this fight. Owner flashing and dying, and Faker the only one who can do damage left in this fight. That's going to do it for that one, as HLE take down 4, and they will take this Baron.
That may have been the game-ending moment, with Faker trying to do what he can at the end of the fight, popping the Actualizer, trying to burn those health bars, but Pays was blown up in an instant. And it doesn't matter if there's no Zonias for Zeus, you know, in these types of situations. Equalizer will be enough. The follow-up for that ult from Kanavi will be enough as he flashes at max range onto FaZe. Caught out once again, just alone. Really nice flank angle he picks up. That's Baron for HLE, and that should be map control for this upcoming Dragon. Timing of this a little bit thin as they're recalling as it spawns, but look at this angle here for Kanavi. Zeka comes in, Equalizer follow-up from so far away. The teleport in here for Doran gets into the backline, but there's no damage because the Lucian is dead and Faker's on the other side of the fight. He punishes Kanavi, who wants to come in here with Actualizer and do the damage here. I mean, some of these health bars have been a little bit whittled down, but unfortunately alone, even with Carrier's support, he won't be able to get it done. Great play from Kanavi. They're looking for that Dragon. This is Soul for Hanwha Life Esports.
I mean, owner, no flash. His spear can't reach from there, so it's just Ocean Soul for HLE on top of the Baron. And that one fight just got them so far ahead. They used the dive onto the Lucian, and T1 assuming they can keep FaZe alive on the Lucian with the Melio. Not against this comp. It's not going to happen. And that just means that HLE are in a very strong position. Now looking to push with this Baron. Looking to go down the bottom lane here. No wall available. Faker up doing the Wolves or something. He doesn't have his TP. He's the only one not here, but they weren't going to defend at this turret regardless.
And Hanwha Life Esports, I think, are right to not look for a split. Instead, to just group and look for one inhibitor at a time. Even though the inner turret in mid still has 3 plates still alive, just focus your efforts on one area where you can look for that single target blow up. Say, FaZe, you can't walk up. You have no flash. And this inhibitor is free. Now, Faker is going to be able to get an interim return in mid, but I think that's really the only play for him. So, and in fact, I thought it was lower. He might not even get the whole thing. It is 2026, so he's like, yes, I will. Wolf, watch me do this. Let me press all my buttons.
Yeah.
Clear this wave and then do massive damage to the turret. He will ultimately get it, it looks like here, but it's just not an equivalent exchange on the map. Barely gets it calculated.
Pretty close. I mean, they were definitely considering, yeah, they're going to pull the trigger here as Zeka going to keep him around. Even gets the knockback, and I think Faker going to have to try to realm warp out of this one or just actualize his way out. Nearly kills. No, he gets the kill on a Zeka, and he just barely doesn't get away as Kanavi gets there and shuts it down, but at least he took one with him.
Yeah, that is going to stifle a little bit of the power here for Hanwha Life Esports, the remainder of this Baron, but they got what they were really looking for, was that one inhibitor. The composition siege-wise isn't that strong in terms of, you know, clearing waves and then just pushing the turret at range, but it is really great at grouping and looking for kills. Faker just said, I'm not going to have any part of that. We're going to lose that inhibitor no matter what. I'm just going to send it down the mid lane. Gets a kill back, gets the turret the last possible second. FaZe now picks up IE as his 4th item here to match Guma. But the map control is so important, and you know, you can look at gold as we'll watch Faker actually real quick. Actualizer on 3, 3rd item, 3rd hotkey. He's going to press it, and I love how you put this actualize his way out of here, because that is exactly what happened until he ultimately does go down here. He's out of the realm up for a second, cannot quite get back in.
It was very close too, like he almost got out of there. But at the end of the day, as you mentioned, it was kind of like little consolation prize for Faker. He gets the inner, he does get a kill on his way out, and yes, he's strong, but it just feels like the 80 carry difference in this one in terms of how fed Guma is and how much protection he has, and it just feels like he can essentially do whatever he wants, because not only do they have a very strong front line, but they also have tons of engage that takes all of the focus off of the Corki.
And if you try to engage as owner onto the Corki, first of all, it's going to require a lot more map control than what they have. But he can just Valkyrie you into the middle of the team. You don't have that same follow-up necessarily with his draft, as Kerry is playing an Enchanter. You have the Ambessa, but this is just so much control over the map, which makes it incredibly difficult to walk out here as T1. They can use these, you know, these buffed wards. Oh, why the name is Phaelites. Yeah, to try to see you, but I mean, they're coming. They know they're coming, but there's nothing they can do to stop the siege. They're like, all right, I can see you're coming, and now
Owner puts up the shield, but again, the CC lasts for too long. He does flash away and actually does live. Lots of damage is going on in, as now Doran accesses the backline, and the follow-up from Faker is right there. They've got FaZe, they have the front line, and HLE are just routed. They go a little bit too deep, trying to kill a Pantheon. And they are going to pay the iron price for it. Kanavi by himself behind everyone. He is absolutely dead. And T1 turned this game on its head.
And Doran actually with the insane play there on the turnaround. The follow-up comes through from Faker. And I said they could see them coming, but there's not much they can do about it. But I suppose if they put everything into that Pantheon and he raises his shield, there is some play there for T1. They defend the inhibitor. They kill 4 for Hanwha Life Esports. And now the vision game is no longer fully theirs. As Owner's the one on the edge here, right? When you see this engage come through, you're like, all right, the Weaver's Wall's coming. And T1 is back up. Equalizer's absorbed here by Keria, pretty low value in the grand scheme of things. And then they put everything into this Pantheon. And watch this re-engage from Doran. So much damage goes through, they pop the res. He gets into the back line. Guma gets burst down. And then with the carry showing up, your health bars just go from half to 0. Owner has his ultimate, by the way, still. Not even necessarily really that needed for this cleanup. And Kanavi is just trying to buy space here. Is Guma the only one who lives? But we'll, you know, not feel great about how that one went. Kanavi going straight down to GA instantly.
Yeah, I mean, you were mentioning how, like, Owner can't just run at Corki and press his stun and win a fight that way. But if they're going deep and they're getting out of position, you've got Ryze, Pantheon, even Keria throwing balls at them. Like, there are ways for T1 to keep you around. This damage onto the Baron is not going to be contestable by T1. So it's just one fight that kind of gets them back in the game a little bit. But HLE are still in control of the map right now. They take the Baron and they're looking at Elder.
Can they try to rush this Elder down or set a trap here? T1 have this little pocket of vision. The control ward on the Elder is actually so valuable because it means Hanwha Life Esports are like, I'm calling your bluff. Like, you're not actually doing Elder. You're just waiting here in the bush. Like, they're 100% aware. And now Zeus actually TPs to it and has a flank angle here for a big equalizer potentially as the rest of Hanwha Life Esports collapse in. Doran does not have TP, so doesn't have his big shield for this fight.
A lot of flashes blown in the last fight. You think about Owner, he's not going to be able to do the same thing. Faker used his. Same on the side of HLE. They don't have it on Kanavi, so maybe a little bit less extension to be able to access a backline with the cease and desist and the rumble on top of it.
Pays has his flash. That's the most important one, I think, that's left available here. T1 are spending a lot of this Baron time of Hanwha just kind of grouping on Elder and taking that prio away. But eventually they will have to pay the piper. Hanwha do get that prio back. And Baron is way less valuable than the Elder buff if they can get it.
Oh, very close actually. Might have forced Owner to shield preemptively.
Every second T1 could buy is huge, but eventually this Elder is started. Their inhibitor respawn. Owner dodges a second shove here, but they're gonna have to roll warp in.
Wait, they're just going in. They're getting a better position actually as a team. The equalizer does an insane amount to Keria, but only Keria Delight is gonna zone them away essentially by himself, and he's Alistair, and the double knockback is gigantic. They have the Elder on top of it. Pays trying desperately to hold on, but it just doesn't look like enough. With Elder Dragon, you have to imagine HLE can end this game.
Pays against the world here. He's going to attempt the recall, but I don't think this has a happy ending.
There's just no way. He's trying to kite it out, but the burn with the Rumble and the Zhonya's is enough, and it looks like HLE have done it. They will look to push and end game number 1.
Fantastic game of League of Legends between these two teams. Pays caught a few too many times in this one, though, on the Lucian, giving Hanwha Life Esports enough control. We were praising his control of the 2v2, but as you pointed out several times, Guma and Delight handled it really well in this game. And Kanavi ends up finding the right picks at the right time. Faker trying his best to side, got the Ryze online, but HLE will reign supreme here in game number 1.
And a decisive victory at that. Just a couple of team fights go their way. They're able to hold on and get the job done. There was one whoopsie that we, you know, it was a nice capitalization by T1 to try to give themselves a chance. But as I mentioned, essentially, Hanwha Life Esports did not lose control of the map after that play from Pays dashing forward in mid lane. After that happened, it was all HLE all the way. But that is just game 1. We'll have to see what happens as we move into game 2.
Yeah, I mean, drafts will change. We will see a completely different story here in terms of what these two teams are trying to bring, what the identity is going to be. T1 will have right of first selection as run back to your seat. And I want to miss game 2. I gotta say, you know, here for Hanwha Life Esports, it's a really good look. The draft was clean. Kanavi's execution on a champ that, you know, we've seen forever. It's been around for a while. It's not him reinventing the wheel this time around. Was very good though, and his punish windows were found. At Hanwha Life Esports, their coordination looks very good. Both teams' coordination looks great, but that's what you expect from super teams like this. And man, just even watching this one game makes me feel excited for the rest of the series, but just excited for the year ahead, Valdez.
Yeah, it was definitely a lot of fun to watch it all happen. I do wonder about the Lucian pick in this one, you know, not going for Lucian Braum, the Lucian Melio not necessarily working out. Might be something that T1 don't necessarily bring back. I don't think they'll pull a CV Max and try to make funnel Lucian work multiple times in a row. But you never know. We'll be curious about that for future best of 3s and best of 5s with that Lucian Melio not necessarily working out, not doing nearly as much as Guma on the Corki. So game number 1 goes over to Hanwha Life Esports, and that is the 1-0 lead to them. We'll see what happens in game 2 after the break.
아래 있을 수 있고. 버텀으로는 안 가면 좋긴 해. 버텀 안 가면 좋긴 해 이번에.
반대 공 꺼내줄 수 있고. 야, 공 라이즈.
나이스. 어디 아래.
야, 먹을래? 마카로스 걸어놨어. 먹어봐. 싸보자. 벽쳐. 오케이, 쳐. 야, 라이즈. 아래.
천천히 반대부터 반대 마무리해야 돼.
너네 잡아.
아 돌게.
얘네 잡으면 끝난다.
야 앞으로 갔다 여기로 갔다.
탑고 라탑 라인 쓰자. 여기 있다, 야 돼.
Back in. No jinxing. No caster cursing.
Well, they can still pick Jinx, actually, because it hasn't been picked yet.
That's true.
But Malphite is going to be banned here. Might see very similar bans. You know, very meta stuff that they get banned in game number 1. Wouldn't expect too much of a difference. Maybe the Varus gets left open this time.
The interesting thing about... Okay, well, the Yunara is banned. I was going to say, the interesting thing about how this draft could differ is that the Yunara could be end up being the powerhouse AD carry this time around, but we'll just have that banned again. And Varus taken away. So there's a lot of prio picks here. The Orianna and the Azir are gone. The Lucian's gone, of course. Aurora first pick. Very flexible, but less relevant in the top lane with no Rumble to speak of. Surprised by this one, to be honest. It's a pretty unusual priority. The Nico also still was available, and we have not seen that one as heavily prioritized here in LCK Cup as it has been for all of 2025, or was.
Yeah, I mean, Carry is insane at the pick. Maybe they just go ahead and pick the bottom lane. They're going to pick the Aphelios for now.
If he's insane at Nico, he's also insane at Thresh. And they'll need to pick it right here, but it certainly could be a very strong combo. The classics here of Aphelios. Pays and Guma both really proficient at the champ. His owner, Xinjiao, was the champ that you had in your mind when you were watching him play throughout 2025, and I'll lock that one in here again. Wukong does have a reasonable, there's reasonable pick him here, decent into the Xinjiao. not as powerful early, but incredibly powerful at getting on top of that Aphelios, especially when you have an Aurora there as well. You make too many threats, and that Thresh isn't going to save you.
And it looks like they're trying to stack the threats on top. It worked in game 1. And Rakan, I mean, going with the Wukong, we always talk about this duo, is insane. So if you're looking for backline access, aka an Aphelios, who is not the most mobile, you pick something like this. Now they need an answer to it. They need some kind of front line, or maybe that Thresh you were talking about. Something to get Aphelios to safety.
I think if they go for Thresh, they probably want something else that wants to kind of walk that fine line so they can get double power out of it. I think it's probably going to be banned if it isn't picked here. They go for the Lulu instead, which empowers the Xin Zhao. We've seen this so often, this combo. Usually with Zeri instead of the Aphelios, as he hasn't really been in favor for a long time, but with the changes to crit, he is incredibly powerful right now. Even though he was hotfixed with some of his lethality, that wasn't really the main part of why he was back in the meta, although it did make a very funny win rate for a little while. Let's see what
very
happens.
Funny high number.
Yeah,
yes.
very, very high 50s. Let's see what gets banned here now, because the identities are once again clear. You know, the scaling Aphelios, and then the team that tries to kill the Aphelios. And Yone, pretty good at getting on top of and killing the Aphelios. Zeka's very good at that champion. Zeus also very good at that champion.
And they have AP in the top lane already, or at least in a lane, because I suppose Zeus could play it as well.
When you have Zeus and Zeka and you have a Flex Aurora, it's like, you know what? Just get rid of that. That's probably a safe call.
Just ban it. Galio going to be denied, and you think about Galio with the Xin Zhao, definitely a good combo. It's something that Faker's played many a time. It's fantastic for keeping Pays alive on the Aphelios as well. So that's insta-manned.
See what comes next here, as a lot of dive picks have been taken away. I mean, it's really up to whether you want to deal with, because it's so difficult in this position. You're like, do we ban for Zeka's champion pool, or do you ban for Zeus here? They ultimately end up going with the Gwen ban, which might indicate that we're going to see a tank top. So the Scion gets banned in response here. I think this is a safe call on both sides. Ornn, reasonable, but hasn't really been that strong this patch.
You can still just play Cassante as well.
Yeah, that's
would
fair.
be kind of the next tank on the line. Can pull a member away from the Aphelios potentially.
The Rek'Sai is available for Zeus, and there are other picks that he is really well known for. Like, he could play into the Cassante, for example, the Jax, that new Dusk and Dawn build that is very popular right now. Again, assuming that the Aurora is going mid, but with the Cassante now, I think it becomes more likely. Oh, another one, by the way. Yeah, I forgot about this one. He likes to do this one a lot, the Cassante in the top lane. This is incredibly popular right now. A lot of people are spamming this in solo queue.
Honestly,
you know what? Another one he's
good.
really likes into Cassante, as it turns out. He's got a few of these. This is why blinding Cassante into Zeus is usually something teams don't do.
Saw that Neela come out as well. It's not necessarily your classic AD carry, but could offer even more lockdown.
I mean,
to that backline.
If the Gnar is set and they go Neela, all 5 champions are primed to kill that Aphelios. And Pays got caught enough already. Now, surprised to see Guma pull out the Ziggs here. And it's not a pick he was known for in a very Ziggs-centric meta. But it is going to be great follow-up to all that CC.
Yeah. You know, Guma, hopefully given the time, I would love to see another crack at the Ziggs, because as you mentioned, I think this is a great spot for it. A very common pick into the Aphelios.
No
now
way.
We're looking at Faker's pick.
I mean, when I saw the Gnar, I think part of why they didn't lock the Gnar, I was like, no way Faker just plays Sylas here. It's another front line. They've got triple for it. They've got decent ultimates to steal. I mean, really, a lot of great ultimates to steal that'll scale well with the AP that Faker's going to be building. And picking the Gnar into this Cassante means that you're going to have a fantastic lane. You're going to have pressure up there on the top side, which means you can put your efforts on focusing on the bottom side, where Ziggs will also already outrange the Aphelios. You get to level 6 with the Wukong, you get through that tougher part of the early game, you feel really good about this draft. But Sylas is going to be stealing that Gnar ultimate. He's going to be looking for an insane amount of frontline without it, and then can use it into an additional engage tool to set up Pays. He is another wild growth target to get on top of the backline, or just help peel in the front line for this Aphelios carry. man, these are some banger drafts. Like, both drafts are incredibly strong. I like how Honda Life Esports set this one up for their early control. Get Kanavi to 6, but the Silas was kind of a masterclass in the final moments there for T1. And I hope we get another close one here. I hope we get to see Elder again.
Might just happen. Definitely like this draft here from the side of HLE. With Zeus back on his Gnar, his debut champ, and Doran on the Cassante over here. Going to be a very fun matchup in that top lane as we have the game loaded up. HLE versus T1, game 2. All right, game number 2, and just hoping for a game number 3 at this point, because game number 1 was certainly a banger. I mean, there wasn't a heaping helping of action all the time, but it was definitely very tense and very back and forth and could have gone either way.
Wasn't it LCK Cup last year where we had to pull out the Vayne cosplay?
Was it that early?
I don't know. It was definitely a big game. It may have been LCK Cup finals or playoffs. And I could already feel when that was being hovered, like the space over there, like Degon and Wooded looking at each other like, oh, no, no.
You know, I think you're right, because it was at Lal Park, but I think it was also the best of 5 finals where it happened, because it was such a big deal.
It was Keen who played it, right? Like, and kind of whiffed it and lost to Zeus. Yeah. Like, Zeus owned him.
Against the Aatrox.
Exactly. That's what I remember. Sometimes I write my own memories, but I think this one is true. Anyway, maybe we see it in game 3 and he gets to cosplay again anyways. Remember his Ari cosplay? What else has he got?
Gnar. Would love to see a Gnar cosplay. I think it would fit him very well. I think Wadid's got the personality for it.
Yeah. He's not quite as noisy as Gnar.
Well...
I mean, is anyone as noisy as Gnar?
Lysandra. You guys were talking about this yesterday.
Yeah.
With the Karma as well. No Karma just yet.
I mean, the thing about Karma is I'd be okay with it if I could just understand what she was talking about.
Yeah.
I really just have no idea.
One time I did look up the voice lines and their meanings.
What do you mean you looked up them? It's a fake language, Valdez.
No, it's a thing. No, I'm pretty sure they had translations. Or at least...
No, I'm sorry. I mean, they probably do.
At least I saw what she was saying and I'm like, oh, okay, that makes sense.
Okay.
Because it's easy to mishear some of those voice lines. No big surprise here. The Lulu winning in the lane against the Rakan.
Well, you know, the Ziggs can kind of handle his own here and chip away at the FLOs, outranges them. So you can see, like, there's a health advantage for the Ziggs, there's a health advantage for the Lulu. And as you say, like, Lulu's winning, but the Ziggs is fine here. Does have teleport, of course. And this is a fairly stable lane. It's not like there's kill pressure for the FLAOs. Shouldn't be. This is a lane that's won by the Gnar. And so this Wukong is just kind of chilling. Power farming to 6. We'll grab an extra ward there. Scries. And is just going to head over and keep clearing.
Owner's just going to wait for him, actually. If we get the knock-up into the satchel used aggressively, this time makes sense. Owner's like, oh, hello. So they're going to have a little bit of a skirmish here, a one-on-one. Which mid laner gets here first? Looks like they're here at the exact same time. And going to respect the Xin Zhao, looks like, or maybe not quite enough, as the chain's not going to predict as the flash comes late, and now Owner has to flash away, double flash in, as Kanavi desperate to kill that Xin Zhao, but he just cannot. And Delight follows, double kill given over to Faker at 3 minutes into the game.
Triumph proc there, Owner's they got too much health, and my money is always on the Silas in the skirmish like that. He has Kingslayer. He is so difficult to deal with. He's so much health. And even if the chains don't connect, which was a bit of a disaster there, but I mean, it was Faker trying to be a little bit 3D chess, you know, 400 IQ play. Does not work out, but you're still dealing with a Silas in a scrappy fight here, and it ends up extending, right? The Conqueror is procced. Faker here, not quite able to hit the chains onto Zeka. Zeka survives as a result, but can't really offer damage back. And then Xin Zhao actually flashes away, doesn't get knocked up. And then the first kill comes through. He goes back in, Conqueror procs, and they end up getting a double for Faker here in the early game.
Yeah, I mean, best case scenario, even, like, maybe they get that kill on an Owner, But even then, I just feel like you're not going to win in the extended trade against Xin Zhao and Silas, as you mentioned. Like that, especially with Zeka just chunked out before the fight even really began. Like, yes, they went deep, but it was only Owner who was low. So it felt like they were trying to just get something out of the trade by taking down Owner. Maybe instinctually just flashing in for the kill and maybe just going to go from there. But did not work out for them. And now Faker's sitting 2-0. Nearly 1,000 gold ahead already because of all of that kill gold. And that is not going to be a very fair Silas.
He's going to take that between worlds and say, oh, you guys are hard pushing bottom lane? Yeah, there's some question mark pings. Well, just one. I think that might be enough to get the message across, but Guma's already way too far up.
Yeah, they are very much caught out here. We do have double flash available. And just waiting. Doesn't look like Paze is able to get in position. Thought maybe he would flash in and look for the root with the purple gun, but not meant to be, I suppose.
Guma already used teleport, so this is going to be a big win if they could shove him out. Delight instantly gets in position to block for him as well, so that the chains cannot connect. I thought that was really well played by Delight and Guma, all things considered. And nothing really amounts of this. I mean, nothing critical. A nice play from Faker with the lead that he has.
Yeah. We have this dragon being taken, maybe with some of that pressure that they got, and Delight being forced back, so at least able to get this early objective.
Look at Owner's experience advantage. He has level 6, the Wukong does not. He's a full level up. The team fight, the jungle camp lead he has over this Wukong that's been fighting fire with fire, but is just much less relevant in the early game. A little LPL-esque, you could say, with how he's played this one out.
Oh, Kanavi just running straight into him. I mean, yes, it's in your jungle, but again, that level difference is just too big. At least Kanavi's able to smite it away, but Owner's going pretty deep to chunk him out.
He wants
still
more.
to level 6.
Hey, he wants more out of this jungle. He's like, why still... I know that you don't have level 6 until you can get some more camps. Let's see how many of those I can take. He doesn't actually commit to the Krugs, however. Pays has red and white. And that's going to be the end of the bottom side skirmish potential for Owner. This game, very much, it's still a playable game here for Honor Life Esports, but starting to get a little bit concerned about how they have played it thus far. As Faker still has a 500 gold lead from those 2 kills he picked up earlier. Silas can snowball games incredibly well. He has so many ultimates to get value from. Zeka went Ignite to go into this 2-0 Silas, so that's also not going to be very helpful in terms of trying to catch up. As Faker has his teleport back and can get a free back, buy an item, and then be ready to scrap again.
Yeah. It just feels like should be able to get value against the mid jungle with that Ignite, but as you're mentioning, not going to help him in this situation, trying to get back to the lane. It's kind of cool that we don't have to have teleport be the only thing that people take nowadays. In the top lane, obviously, but also even in the mid lane nowadays with a lot of ghosts being taken and Ignite in this case.
Faker doesn't even use his teleport to come back because he has plenty of time. So he can continue to hold on to that summoner for power elsewhere. Crescendum. You know, it's not Duck Dom this time, the Crescendum King, but Paze is just going to rip this turret apart. That bomb coming out will force him to push forward until that next wave crashes, but a lot of damage has been done. On the top side of the map, Kanavi does have level 6 now. He's looking for some grub control.
And Paze alongside of his friendly carry Lulu is just totally fine to push up, do a ton of damage, and be very fast when it does come to getting the speed boost from the Lulu. I talked about being excited for the top lane. Well, it's basically just been Zeus getting a little bit of a CS lead. And he is the one stripe on the team. You know, he is the Zeus stripe at the moment. That does have 600 gold in the lead. Owner continuing to try to pressure these Raptors and take them down time after time.
Yeah, if you're a Honor Life Esports fan, you're like, it's just the tip of the iceberg. It's the part you can see. Don't worry, the rest of the team will be online before you know it. You just haven't been able to see into the depths. But, I mean, this Gnar is generating the kind of pressure he needs to with this counter pick. Again, could be a detriment later on with Silas steals, but it doesn't always work out that way. Can outplay. I remember back when Stopwatch was purchasable, we would see people Stopwatch the hijack, which was kind of insane. Like, Zeus actually was one of those guys who would do that.
Yeah.
I'm glad that item was removed. I was kind of on the same page as you. It made for some fun team fights, for spectators.
Trying to make a play here on a Faker. He's getting pretty low. Actually has to flash the burst at the end of that between worlds. And Kanavi was also in the vicinity, so could have seen even a follow-up from him under the turret, especially because, as we know, Owner was not anywhere nearby. He was just coming back to farm his Krugs.
Faker does stay and grab this extra wave. See if he is getting close to an item break point or not. Just wanted to stick around for this one. We'll teleport back to lane if he needs to. In fact, with how that ended up crashing, you might just be able to hold it again.
Let's see, does he finish that belt?
Could time it with the TP.
I think he is with the TP, right? No? Okay.
Nope.
Did he buy anything? Maybe the boots? I don't know. I didn't really see if he bought anything.
No, I don't think. I thought he had the boots already.
Well, seems like he needs some more money. He's going back again. Wolf.
Did he forget to buy this? No way. Or like maybe he mistimed it on the TP.
He might have mistimed it, or maybe he just needed a tiny bit more gold.
Oh my God.
He TP'd in, got one more wave, and then backed again.
I guess, yeah. That's
so
not ideal, but
I'm glad that you and I realized that we were like, this timing doesn't really add up. This is weird.
Ultimately, you know, still going to be able to get back to lane fairly quickly. Is back now already. It's 2026. You know, you can go back whenever you want.
Yep.
It's your prerogative.
Owner's getting in there on a Kanavi. They want to engage on this Wukong as the root comes in onto the two bottom laners. And Kanavi, there's really nowhere for him to go, as now they got to try to turn around. But is it too little too late? Owner able to set up two. Eventually does go down, but now Pace has a free highway to getting even more kills. Picks up the double. We got a TP coming in. And Zeus, now he's getting stunned down. Faker thinking about taking more of a fight, but not going to overplay their hands. And now with that TP, you give Doran the free lane up here, you give him that extra time, and T1, a big move into the lead.
I'm not entirely sure about that TP from Zeus, because obviously he doesn't have his Narbar in a position to where he can impact anything there. He knows the hijack is down, but it's going to be really hard for him to actually make anything of that play. So he just gives away his TP, gives Doran a ton of agency there. And this play is about the Wild Growth Xin Zhao combo that we talked about in draft. Owner looking for Kanavi initially, but makes a turn here with this Aphelios.
Satcheled so early, by the way.
Yeah. And then look at this. Back onto Kanavi, triple knockup, and they just disappear. And now Pays has free agency. There's no one to engage on him anymore. In live,
if they had the Satchel to prevent that from happening.
They almost, would have been pretty huge. They almost get the kill onto Zeka.
Yeah, Zeka, he is one of the guys still doing pretty well at this point in time, but Pays again with shields and speed ups. There's really no threat at this point in time. Like, again, this comp can do so much when it comes to team fights and punishing the Aphelios, but in this early to mid game state where HLE are behind, it just feels like Pays does whatever he wants.
And it feels like the opt-in to these team fights from Kanavi has really been the bane of their existence. And you know, you took him out of the LPL, but you can't take the LPL out of him, maybe, is what we're seeing here. I'm being a bit facetious, obviously, but, you know, that last fight, the satchel usage was a problem, but you got to consider the engage range, the scrappy power of this, the rotating Silas. And Pays 2 kills under his belt already. And
Stormrazor.
Yeah. Now, Guma's going to wish he had his TP. He's going to back away here, and we'll see how much Pays can get done then with this crescendo. Might be able to grab an additional plate here. Guma's going to stay and clear this, but down goes the plate. More gold in his inventory. Faker does not have his quest completed for some reason. That can't be right. Oh, it's right. His boots are not.
I mean, he was out of lane for a decent amount of time.
Yeah, I guess that's it. He just
running back and forth, buying items, and going bot lane that one time.
They're like, he lane swapped to being a jungler by roaming a lot. That's the Gnar steal.
Yeah. Should be the better Gnar, but he's up against a Rakan at the same time. The better Gnar ult throws them into the wall, and Faker says, this is why I picked Silas, guys. You're not going to enjoy this fight. Gets the slow on a Zeus. There's the block from Delight, but he might be in trouble now as the smite comes down. Oh, the boomerang nearly gets him.
Minions?
Wukong? He was trying to TP away. I think he should be able to. I think he's got the time. Yeah, there he goes. And a slick play by Faker to get away, but has to expend his TP to do it.
Yeah, flash down as well. That was a very risky scenario for both sides. Look for a moment like Faker might have misjudged.
Okay, well now he's going to have to go between worlds, but you can see that Doran able to pull him back for a moment. And really exerting that pressure on the Cassante.
And he's like, I've played against Keen enough times. I know how this works. And ends up handling it pretty well. We'll see a push out of the top lane. And we kind of reset to this point where the Herald spawns, and Pei still has Flash. Faker does not. And they have Prio. Scary thing is this Aphelios, it just does so much consistent damage. They have to lock him down. Faker has the ability to peel and or engage with this Rakan ultimate now. And I kind of just don't see a way in for Hanwha Life Esports. Zeus doesn't have TP either, even though his Gnar was set. We can't join, and I think this should be relatively free. And you see Guma is backing. They're just simply not going to contest, and I think it's the right choice. We have to keep asking the question, though, when will Hanwha Life Esports be able to punish? When will they be able to set up this engage? They had to opt out this time around.
Yeah, that is a good question. Another question I have is, when is Faker going to complete his quest? Still doesn't have the tier 3 boots.
It's a little bit tougher for Sylas to hit the enemy mid laner when he's not in the mid lane. And
he could go mid, but we've kind of entered an awkward state where he got it late, and now he wants to be in a side lane, but I would assume he also wants to complete that quest. So we'll have to wait and see.
Maybe it was like the one teleport snafu where he had to like go back twice that actually messed up his quest timing, and now he's just kind of locked out of it. Super bizarre. Well, he's gonna wish he had those cooldown boots, and obviously his empowered recall. He will not for a little while.
Maybe he's delaying the empowered recall so he can use it at a better time.
Oh my god, that would be such a Faker thing to do. Just like how he delayed his use of the Rakan ultimate here to make sure he could clear those minions a little bit faster.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
that's a plate.
There he goes.
Go. All he needed was one more plate. See, he used the Rakan ultimate perfectly there.
And now he's ready to have his empowered recall right after this dragon fight. It's perfect.
My god, Valdez, he's genius. This guy's pretty good. Cerebral player, some would say.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, this dragon doesn't spawn for 40 more seconds. And this hijack is going to be up.
Well, he might be backing sooner rather than later. Faker in a lot of trouble here, actually. The Ignite doing so much work, and just straight up a solo kill. Zeka takes him down. Owner takes an opportunity to go mid and try to take down this turret with the Rift Herald. Should be able to do so. And actually trying to run it into the second turret here. Carrier going even deeper. There he goes. There's the knockback, but at the end of the day, with the Wild Growth, I think it should be okay. Still does have to flash, but I suppose worth with all that extra money.
Yeah, I mean, that's a lot of money he picks up. Does have to flash, but they end up taking that first turret out so quickly to save the charge. Now the dragon is spawned, though, and their support doesn't have his ult or his flash or his heal, but, you know, whatever. You know, that's relatively useful. Doesn't have anything, and now Hanwha Life Esports are looking for a contest. Owner's going in.
Yeah, he's just going in. I mean, he's got everything. He's got his flash, his ult available. He's the same level as Faker. So they're going to exhaust him and try to get into that circle, which Wukong can easily do, as does Rakan, and Zeka gets in there as well, does the damage. We got the Between Worlds stolen, and Delight might be in a bit of trouble here, as down he will go.
See if Faker can try to cut off their retreat. Oh, does not hit the chains. Still has that ult.
To throw this ult in. There it is. And he is just going assassination mode, but unfortunately disengaged Cone. As now we have TP coming in, and Kanavi trying to punish him as the Gnar is not quite ready. Faker has to flash out of this one. The Gnar almost there, but now Pei's going man mode as nobody is able to get onto that backline. Faker's going back in, and now Doran's able to join as well. As Zeus low, as is Kanavi. They want to try to take them down. The chains once again not going to land.
This fight was actually so difficult to pilot for T1. But they turned it into such a scrappy fight. The Hanwha Life Esports could not group and get anything done, and you could really feel the difference, obviously, in terms of damage output. Zeus.
I think Owner eventually just, he'll just get him here. Oh, little sidestep. Did a good job of dodging basically everything, but it did not matter. Faker still get the drag.
Doesn't get the kill, but ultimately doesn't really matter that much in the grand scheme of things, but I'm going to go all the way back to this solo kill here onto Faker from Zeka. He made a funny sound when he killed him. Like he didn't want to do it.
I was trying to decipher what he meant by that.
What did he mean by that?
Yeah, I don't know.
I think he was just telling people they didn't need to commit to a TP or something like that. Is probably what he sounded like. He said maybe no.
Yeah.
Anyways, Owner is really tanky, right? And this fight gets really split up. Guma does not have the same damage output as Peizu. It's a massive ultimate. Even though it doesn't execute anyone, everyone's health bars get a little bit dented, right? Delight here tries to escape, gets taken up by Faker, doesn't ult until the last possible second. And all the while, you know, he pushes out Guma, no longer a threat. He's still Silas in a scrappy fight. He kites back here. TP comes in from the Gnar, but there's no Gnar bar set. And watch Pays just take out half his health bar during the polymorph, then turn his attention to Zeka as Doran gets into the backline, finishes off that backline threat of Guma, the Ziggs, and like, there was just never really any setup for HLE. They just kind of trickled in one by one piecemeal into the meat grinder that was Pays. And then eventually Doran was like, well, I guess Ziggs is also dead. And they end up winning the fight, taking out the Dragon, putting themselves on Mountain Soul Point here with a Cassante, a Xinjiao, and a Silas. Not to mention a Lulu to make it even more annoying.
Yeah, trying to just continue scrapping Zeus. I think he got a good taste of that in the last team fight, which the action continued on for very long.
The thing about the comp here for Hanwha Life Esports is you don't want to be going in one by one and looking for a finish of the target, right? You want to be able to kill Aphelios instantly, and the fight is won in that moment. That's it. You win the fight, you do that. Obviously, there'll have to be some kite back for Guma. We'll need to continue to do damage because there's a lot of threats for him. But if the Aphelios is like taking half of your Gnar's health bar out because he teleports in at a kind of awkward angle and can't reach him, you're not going to win those fights.
I think
catching
Faker's just
Faker
dead.
in the side would be huge.
He's trying to steal the Between Worlds. Meanwhile, Zeus is just dead, and Faker actually got away with the Aurora ult, so that's going to be a trade up here for T1, who now have a 5,000 gold lead, and they're just going to set their sights on the Baron.
And Faker's in TP mid, look for Guma.
Yeah, he's got the satchel this time, but Faker's able to get on the right side of that. Now he just wants to get away from Kanavi.
And they're just going to keep them away from the Baron. Red-white for Pays means this Baron goes down so quick.
Yeah, I don't think there's any way. I mean, Kanavi's trying to run over. At this point, they're trying to burst down Faker, who is this tankier Silas, who's quite fed, and that's just the Baron given over to T1.
I wouldn't put that in the T1 Baron column, but it was fairly close. They see an angle, they see a window, they've got the right gun set up for Pays, they take it out. Hanwha Life Esports trying to trade back a turret, but it doesn't look like they're necessarily even going to get that. The satchel's been changed.
Hunter's going in, and there's really no recourse for this. The satchel does come out, but unfortunately that's going to leave Kanavi to the Wolves as in goes Faker and does the burst damage. I think they're just way too far ahead at this point. The chain's once again going to miss, but Faker will not be stopped. Does get denied the quadra, but does pick up the triple as Owner. Man, he's getting so much aggro from the guys on HLE, but he just rarely goes down.
Yeah, he just absorbs it, takes it like a champ, and you know, it's only 3 kills for Pays in this game, but his damage output has been so insane in some of these scrappy fights. And now Zeus.
We got better Gnar ults coming on in, but Faker pretty low, and it looks like maybe not going to go for it. Although Faker has been going insane. Kingslayer comes in. Zeus is getting low. The chains are going to connect as might just have the Gnar ultimate into the wall, into the turret. Delight super low, and the auto from Carry gets it done. He flashes forward. The bloodthirsty support trying to get another one, but he will not be able to. T1 having a bit of fun with their food at this point.
Yeah, this is definitely becoming a very one-sided affair very quickly as Pays kind of baiting them in. He does die.
Dead. Kanavi looking for a bit more over the wall. They are going to get Karya as Ingo Zeka as well, but yeah, I suppose just getting the scraps at the end.
Pays was almost able to turn that into something. Does have to use his flash and still dies, so not ideal, but it's really just a drop in the bucket of the deficit now. Can't satchel the turret until it goes to its final plate, if I'm not mistaken, on this patch, so they can't get the turret as quickly as they would have normally, and then, yeah, he is just going sicko mode in this fight. So difficult to kill, so tanky. And then he just is able to catch them before they can take the turret out. And then best friend Karya coming in. Speaking of best friend Karya, he's going to have a lot of fun in this replay as well. Oh, this is not quite the replay I thought it was.
Like, I don't know.
No.
What did he mean by that?
The replay where he helps Faker. with the Gnar ultimate and all that. With the
too much action. Too much action. Too many replays. We don't even know which one it is. And Faker gets a kill as we're in a replay. He's looking for more. I feel like he's throwing so many chains, and I see most of them miss, but sometimes he just gets in there and blows up your entire health bar instead.
Well, that's an inhibitor going down. And Zeus is trying to get some bounty gold on the top side. We'll see a TP from Faker to shut that down. They're not going to go for the bottom turret there as the Baron fades away. And we'll just reset and look for Dragon. Owner is level 16. Go over the wall here. There's just no way anyone can get anywhere near this Dragon. They have no vision either. I mean, Kanavi is going to come over here and see what he could do. He doesn't have flash. And I think this is just Mountain Soul to T1 for free.
Yeah, look at Doran's positioning as well. Just the threat of that. And now Faker from the top rope is looking to come on in as trying to get on top of Guma here, but he's able to satchel away. Faker, though, able to steal the Between Worlds, does an immense amount of damage, finds Zeus on the top side on top of it all, and Kanavi essentially just the sacrifice as this engage cone does get Zeus to safety. It's only a matter of time until T1 end this game.
It might be a very short amount of time, in fact, Valdez, as they have this super minion wave here. Shirelia's out. They're looking to end it right now.
I think they should be able to. Zeus, Nodar, and the gigantic Aphelios ult on top of 3. And it's still Faker that gets 2 kills somehow, as now he's diving the fountain. I'm sure he's giggling the entire time. And they have a little bit of a wave, but it did just get cleared out. Doesn't seem to matter, as very much having fun with their food and playing with it, but they will take down the Nexus here. As Owner looking for a bit more, wants that damage number to look even better. And same thing for Pays as they are just in it. Zeus, though, wants to get a kill. He's not going to be able to. This Pays picks up the double, and that will do it. T1 have their fun, and they will also have their Game 3.
All right, bringing us to a Game 3, a full series here. Degon mentioned they were dead even before today, and with a 1-1, we'll keep it that way until we get that 5th decider. Faker doing a lot of work, getting the extra gold from that early skirmish. Not having as much of an impact in sides as we could have potentially seen. He was focused a lot, had his quest complete very late, but it didn't ultimately matter.
It's Rascal.
Yeah, we were just talking about him.
Yeah.
He shows up, you speak, and he can appear.
Yeah.
And this game for Hanwha Life Esports was very scrappy. I think they did not really ever find a way to get on top of Pays, who did, let's see how much. Only 25k damage here. It was a relatively short game, 26 minutes. And everybody had a part to play. The Owner, Xin Zhao, you know, it's still pretty good. As it turns out, that didn't really change.
Yeah, I feel like if there were a couple of early game fights that went the way of Hanwha Life Esports and they began to get a lead, this comp works. But once you get behind and you don't have kill pressure, it just looks really silly and it falls very flat. And eventually, Faker Silas just rolls his face on the keyboard and kills your entire team alongside of everyone else. So, again, I'm happy that we get a Game 3 at least, even though Game 2 was a bit of a stomp. And we'll have to wait and see what Game 3 holds for us after the break.
그냥 밀어낼게. 타워 쳐볼래? 와우.
탑 형들들. 우리 민이
야, 죽었어 일단. 50 10초야. 타워 쳐야 돼.
오 너무 이기네.
한 번 더 싸워도 돼. 스테라가 없어. 스테라가 없어. 걔네 셋밖에 없어. 딜량 그만 올려봐. 근데
와 수환이. 아 개발리네.
아 이러면 원대 딜량이 뛰잖아.
Leading these two teams here in the year. They were dead even right before this. There's still some big prio picks I think we're going to see gone. The Orianna and the Azir are those two big
The
ones.
Malphite, the Jace. Oh, the Graves.
Graves kind of niche, but still strong. His crit kind of got buffed, obviously, and like he's been changed, and then like they, I think, what? WTF 2 Malphites?
Wait. Okay, so that's, I would assume, second ban Jace.
I think they're gonna ban Malphite here.
I don't know. No, I think they banned Jace, right?
No, I'm joking. Yes, it was just an
Okay,
error.
current one is correct.
Yes.
So, okay.
Oh, Malphite is really strong when there's no Sylas, and since Sylas was played, they need to ban that away. And Hanwha Esports do have first pick, so they just didn't have any intention of playing it at all. It seems like the Inara will once again be banned. Varus is gone again. And what else? Oh, they have
Zero Orianna.
Graves. Not, I don't think so.
Singed.
This meta is so variable that it's difficult to predict what T1's read on this is. They'll take away the Rel as they feel there's enough engage taken away. I mean, look at the jungle picks that are banned away. And support, you know, there's the Alistar, the Rakan. They leave the Alistar to Zeka, or sorry, the Azir to Zeka. And
I was gonna say,
Sylas is gone. Akali is not.
Orianna.
Orianna also available. Orianna's stronger traditionally in this meta and a stronger mid pick for her CC and her versatility, but Akali is the, you know, air quotes, counter pick. Grab
Carry a
Bard.
Bard.
Grab Bard, though, for Carrier.
That is always a good idea. Doesn't matter what meta it is. And now we've got Vandal Pipes, potentially, for him, so we'll see if he does go for that.
They go for the Orianna, the safer pick for Faker.
Well, it's just hovered.
You go for the Orianna, the safer pick for Faker. And we'll see if we get a jungle here or just lock up the bottom duo. You know the Bard is there. I think the jungle safer choice. And it will be Kanavi's Jarvan, the fourth, to be clear.
The fourth, yeah.
He's not playing Jarvan 1 in this one. Aatrox for Zeus would be fun. However, this would be blind. It is very strong. A lot of different builds coming out, but gonna look for the Renekton, which is a much safer blind pick.
Yeah.
It's Renekton, Azir, the choices. Okay. So we didn't really have a plan there, but we cycled through and ultimately came up with the Rek'Sai, which works well with this comp so far.
Thinking about Diana. Will we throw it into the jungle?
I know there's a lot of Diana enjoyers right now. I just don't know if she is quite pro-playable, pro-viable. And we know Owner loves his Nocturne. And Nocturne with an Orianna, that's something different. That's next level.
Yeah, also
really get this.
Bard Orianna, we've seen actually T1 specifically have been really good at setting up combos with that, which makes sense. I mean, it's carry his Bard.
And they are like, no Renata in this lane. It's decent into the Bard. It's really decent into the setup here for this composition. Bard Ezreal not going to be on the cards. Varus is already banned. I wonder what else they're concerned about here. We don't know what their pick is going to be just yet for Guma either.
Yeah, kind of gotta go down the list. I mean, there's Ashe available. There is Sivir. Jhin could be another big one.
I feel like Sivir is what you probably want to ban here as T1. Take away the Ashe that he had an incredible performance on at the World's Finals, where he did secure MVP. And for here, it's not about safety necessarily, it's just about poke and pressure in lane if they're going for an AD carry, which they in fact do not. Instead go for what could have been a potential Gwen counter pick into this Rek'Sai for Doran. Does Doran just play a tank here and they look for a scaling carry, or does he try to play through top side here with a strong side lane champion for the Nocturne? I kind of like the strong side lane champion angle. They'll deny the Sivir first so they could save that counter pick. Well, I mean, it's not necessarily, I mean, it is a counter pick, but it's not the pick to the counter. They blind the Sivir to keep Doran's pick hidden, is what I'm really saying here. I think they're going to do something like Camille or look for some sort of other strong side laning pick, potentially. I want to see what the AD carry is first.
Guma Kaisa might be making its return here. Or it might just be Jhin. Which, I think Jhin makes a lot of sense. It's just a little bit vulnerable to Bard and Orianna. So, you know, if you guys are winning and you're pushing forward, you've got Azir, you've got Rek'Sai, you've got Jarvan pushing and engaging for you.
I like the Jhin the most in terms of champion proficiency for Guma.
Well, in that case, absolutely.
And for the comp that they have, I think the Zeri works. I think the Kaisa is decent with the Jarvan. But otherwise, the Jhin just has so much frontline, and with the Azir, can both aggressively set him up and also peel. Zeus, one of the best Rek'Sai players in the world. The Jhin just really fits the bill for me. And it's going to give you a little bit more of a stable laning phase, even with the Nautilus lock in here. Now, what is it going to be? And Camille, I teased earlier,
it's going to be something weird.
It could certainly be something that
Galio
just smashes lane outright. Something ranged. Could be the Jax.
Ollie in the top lane, because it's not going to be Orianna. I mean, I suppose it could be, but I think Doran would be a lot more proficient on Akali.
Yeah, well, Akali was meta in top lane. Rascal's like sitting right over there.
So true. It's a shout out to Rascal
on camera.
I see him. I can actually see him.
I think this is a bit of a wild card pick for me, the Akali. Not 100% sold on it. Could have seen a tank, but doesn't necessarily fit the rest of the identity. The comp works well with the Sivir, but not necessarily the Orianna and the Nocturne. And it's another ball carrier, arguably, with Akali being as hard to lock down as she is. You know, sure, you have the Nocturne, or sorry, the Nautilus, but the Nocturne makes it so difficult to actually see where she's coming from, what angle she's taking, and that paranoia gives you so much frustration when you're trying to deal with this champ if she's fed. That's an if, though. We don't know how this game is going to go. I think the volatility of this draft for T1 just went up massively. The rest of this, stock standard. I mean, it's carry a Bard. You know, it's Faker, Owner, Orianna, Nocturne. Doesn't get more standard than that. But the Doran, top lane Akali, going to have to prove something here to us.
Definitely will have to. Feels like comfort along the board for the rest of them as we jump onto the rift for game 3. All right, game number 3. It is what we hoped for in this best of 3 between these two teams. The long-awaited matchup here at the LCK Cup, happening already in day number 3.
Whoa.
Delight's making weird noises again. Or is that Bard? That is Bard, actually.
I think it's Bard.
Yeah, no, that is Bard. For some reason, I thought that was Nautilus. We're being pulled through the map here. Pays is just fine. But
it looked really strange.
Yeah. A couple of heals being thrown either way. It's not the end of the world. Although Delight might... Oh, that was pretty close.
Guma looking for the 4th shot.
Yeah. Pressure is on. And Keria is going to be the one who does eat that shot, including the grenade on top of it all. Guma does take a little bit of harass on the backside of this, but not a big deal, I would say.
Trying to rush for level 2, and they will get it.
Yeah, another hook is going to come down. Pace still does not have a spell shield. And they're just being harassed out at level 1. I mean, Carrier's backing already.
Yeah, I mean, imagine taking Kaisa here instead, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, Jin is real.
Another hook would have landed, and Pace has to flash it.
Yeah.
So he finally hits level 2.
So, this is a great start for the HLE bottom lane in this 2v2. And unfortunately for T1, going to be playing this one a little bit on the back foot. Pays, because he was able to flash that, can at least catch these minions. Only find himself likely just 3 CS behind. Gets all of those, actually 2.
You can see Orianna, one of the most annoying lane threats, just in the way she's able to chip you down and essentially not allow you to out-trade her. Even the Azir can struggle. As then Pace just go for a back, still down both of his summoners. And Zeka steps up to try to get a minion, and a couple more could have done it, but he is able to dash away with the shield.
Yeah, that shield is really important. If he doesn't have that, then he is dead. Doesn't have to flash though. Faker knew he had the shield available there with the dash, and this is happy to take a very aggressive lead in this lane. Let's see if he can get some damage done before he goes back for his own teleport. Akali in the early levels in this matchup will have to use the Shroud very well, as Doran is doing here. And setting up 5-point strikes to get slows, to look for aggressive trades will get easier as you start to get some items in your inventory. Doing a great job so far though, keeping the CS even. Akali often struggles in a lot of matchups in the first few levels, and Doran, despite getting pushed in, is maintaining CS parity.
Yeah, able to go for the ring just fine. Not needing that extra sustain, and Zeus just trading it out, has his tunnel set up very nicely. And the mid lane, you see that Zeka was able to get it back, was able to run back in with a refillable, and should be okay from that harass.
Delight's gonna briefly head mid here to look for a potential gank. Kanavi's going top side as well. Not gonna commit, but see if maybe Delight can flash. Oh, Faker is not gonna step up too far. Could have been an interesting angle there with the extra freedom they had on the bottom side. Paze has this wave in a really nice spot.
Yeah. So that Guma just got back and had to kill one from range, so it's just Paze trying to do his best to catch up and farm, as he was put behind after having to flash and not having a spell shield early, and all of the shenanigans that Delight put him through. I'm curious to see what this Nautilus is going to do in this composition. Obviously, the engage is very good, but you would assume that Team 1, as long as we're in kind of an even game stage, should just be looking to pull the trigger first with the Nocturne and Orianna.
I think that will often be the case here, but if they are unable to get a crisp setup as Faker...
He's definitely going to pull the trigger here. Zeus, or rather Zeka, easily able to dodge that one. And even takes a better trade on the back of it, although...
He has 6 himself, but he doesn't have mana.
Yeah. And Unar comes in just to say hello.
That was
and do absolutely nothing else.
Quite a fine line they were walking as here comes Kanavi.
Oh, very nice spell shield. And Delight's down his flash now.
Kanavi trying to make something of this, but I think this is going to be short-lived. But I was going to mention, in some ways T1 have the ability to pull the trigger first, but they are also playing a Sivir composition where they can use these tools defensively. They can zone with the Orianna ultimate, they can use the Nocturne Paranoia to get Paze into a better position, play defensively. As Hanwha Life Esports have their own great engage. They have a Rek'Sai, they have this Nautilus, and obviously the Azir's Emperor's Divide. It can be difficult to outplay as the relatively immobile Sivir. So this is going to get really interesting. Is Keria?
He has Smite, and he's not going to be able to hit it, though. And now might just have to flash away from this one. Looks like he will, but a close call, actually, as Keria got in at the right timing, wasn't able to time it right.
Yeah. Sadly for him, not quite able to use that one, but it's cool how close it got. But it is secured ultimately by Hanwha Life Esports. Grab that first Infernal. Owner does have level 6 now. And the question always becomes, where do we go? Not really, actually, in patch 26.1. It's always bottom lane.
Yeah.
And they are pushed in right now. FaZe also has his ultimate, which can empower a Nocturne gank, but they're going to back. They're going to get away with it. As Doran is 12-3. Don't really associate him with this pick, but...
Yeah, it's not his first rodeo. And, yeah, I feel like, you know, Doran also... Oh, there's the combo, by the way. As you said, it was bot lane, but they go straight to mid and interrupt the dash. First blood given on over to Owner's Nocturne, actually. So Zeka not able to flash out of that one and does pay the price.
Owner's spell shields the Emperor's Divide. Not that it would have really impacted too much there. Faker's going to look to grab a plate here, but will be pushed away by Kanavi. Delight's also here. They see him. Nice sidestep.
Yeah, Faker's been really on point with his sidestepping tonight. Remember, he dodged the ball Baker from Kanavi's Vi in game number 1 on the rise. As FaZe is playing some kind of bullet hell game.
So a kill goes over to T1. And the bot lane leaves, so that leaves mid to set up here with the Orianna Nocturne, oldest trick in the book. And watch the Emperor's Divide, spell shielded. Owner is able to secure the kill as a result. Might have forced a flash out of Faker if he was able to push the Nocturne back, so it's a really important spell shield, although relatively easy to hit if you know exactly what you're looking for, as Owner does. And that's T1 on the board. Despite losing that dragon, they have a pretty hefty lead in terms of the farm advantage they have for the Akali. The Orianna has that assist and a little bit of farm advantage herself. Not to mention the jungle advantage that Owner has with the kill.
Yeah, I mean, that's sometimes what you get when you're laning into just sponge tanks that sit there and they sustain forever, and you can do a ton of damage to them, but they're never going to die at the same time. And you just essentially get to free farm. So Doran's really enjoying his time. Nice little stun from Carria's Bard. As all-time Owner, 6, as he's 84.6%.
This pick for me has kind of become more iconic than his Lee Sin. I don't know if he has I don't know to compare the games and like the win rate. I don't have that in front of me right now, but still, like I just associate him more with this pick at this point.
Well, we got a little gank brewing. Kanavi has been such a menace trying to deal with this, but at the end of the day, Carrier gets over, lands the stun, and FaZe throws up an ult. Yells into the ether, and didn't necessarily need that, but wanted to play it safe.
Kanavi did not have Cataclysm available just yet, and when Carrier gets on top of him and stuns him, that's just kind of the end of the deal for that one. Does end up backing away. As we just keep watching this matchup where Doran is having more and more fun, despite the Hex Drinker there in the inventory of Zeus.
This is why every single laner that you see into Rek'Sai just has a bajillion damage at the end of the game.
Yeah.
Because Rek'Sai stands there and takes all of the damage, but then heals it all back.
Yep.
So, you know, it's not like she's avoiding any of it. It's not like she's taking less because she has inherent tankiness or like a shield. She's just sitting there and sustaining it all. And it's very annoying.
This is a really good ward here for Faker, so he is not under any threat despite being flashless, as Kanavi is relentlessly looking for
They're trying to do it again,
angle. Trying to do what, sir?
The Orianna Nocturne. I mean,
oh yeah,
Owner is right there.
And I mean, they don't have to commit here, but Delight is in trouble, and that's why this may actually force some reaction. And that it's a lot of prio gained for the dragon. It hasn't spawned yet, but unfortunately, Kanavi has just come up empty on both attempts now, back to back. Zeus is like, I can do a thing. No.
I am real. I do things except healing.
I wonder how much of Doran's gold is from killing tunnels. Slick backflip CS.
I'd say probably at least 50.
Yeah. I think that's a pretty accurate estimate.
Yeah. Does force Zeus to go for the Hex Drinker early, so it's going to delay his build a little bit, but...
Okay, let's see.
Oh, there's the Gunblade.
Yeah, the Gunblade tech here. Gonna go straight back to the top lane, but his TP is coming up if he needed to come down here for this one. Let's see if they can set up the combo again with this knock from Orianna. Spell shield out.
Owner in a very awkward spot, but he's able to dodge quite a lot and survive. The whole team is in there. He has to go in. There's no combo with Faker just yet, holding on to that shockwave. As in goes Doran, nice little knock up from Zeus, but it does look like T1 are still in a good position. Zeus has to get out as the flash in over the wall. Doran getting in there onto Kanavi. and should eventually be able to win this one, especially with the help from his team. And Doran just going to collect that kill. Nice little fight from T1, although it started with Owner kind of out of position.
Yeah, did not look great for him, but he has Spell Shield, and okay, Guma may have to flash.
Okay, they're going to drop an ult here, and it's going to allow them to do a decent amount of burst damage, but it's not like they're going to get the kill or anything like that.
Yeah, they didn't have any backup. I thought perhaps Owner was coming down, but he wasn't actually.
Faker taking a beating from all those soldiers, but he's able to calculate his way out of there.
Won't get the empowered recall home. So Owner is out of position, air quotes, but he has Spell Shield. Spell Shield's a knockup. Unfortunately, there's a whiff there from Delight. Then he uses Paranoia to buy space here. Faker is pretty late to the fight, so doesn't actually really get anything with Shockwave. But this Akali is just so difficult to lock down. The Paranoia bought a ton of space. Kanavi's on the wrong side of the fight because he went for the kill onto Owner, or tried to, right? And failed, so he couldn't really rejoin his teammates. And once again for Hanwha Life Esports, it's just a little bit too split up here. And not only does T1 win this fight, but they end up getting a ton of money onto this big top lane carry. And now Doran is an even bigger threat in sides.
Zeus was like sometimes getting on top of Doran occasionally, but now with Gunblade, I just don't ever see it happening.
And the Dragon should go over here as well in the follow-up for T1 to put us at a 1-on-1 Dragon apiece. And for this setup here for Hanwha Life Esports, I think we're just going to have to see a little bit more coordination. They saw Nocturne, they pressed buttons to go in. Kanavi has definitely not been shy about engaging, but the rest of the team wasn't there for the follow-up. And
yeah,
here is another engage from Keria potentially.
He's trying to Bandle pipe his way, his team's way into the victory with all that attack speed. Moving in as a unit, trying to take this blue buff away. And Kanavi, as you mentioned, he has not been shy about ganking, about engaging, and now he's just going to die. Has the rest of his team behind him. Big Nautilus ultimate onto 2, and a 3-man scoop from Zeka, but does it matter? As Guma trying to do some damage on the backside, but doesn't have enough at this point in the game. As Faker getting pretty low, maybe able to take him out, but no, the shield comes down, and Faker just walks it off. Pace is going to be tagged. Actually, Keria gets in there, and Zeka somehow died up top as well. And things are getting very silly, but very silly in favor of T1.
I mean, when people are talking about game time and faster games here on this patch, maybe the game time itself on average in solo queue games isn't shorter, and even in pro it might end up being relatively close, but it's small advantage you get that allow you to just group up like this as T1 and be like, I'm taking everything, by the way. And what do you do as Hanwha Life Esports here? You try to look for the engage, get burst down. The Nautilus ult here is decent. The Zeka ultimate is phenomenal, but there's no damage. Guma in stasis because of the Bard isn't able to get that follow-up damage. He's probably super frustrated with how this fight went because he misses here as well. Faker speeds up, is able to get out of the ultimate. Keria comes down to block for Pays. Zeka is getting rushed down in the melee. He's sitting on a Nashor's too that does not quite have the damage to clean up the fight after the Emperor's Divide. And it's a scrappy fight, it's a messy fight for Hanwha Life Esports because they have no vision, they have no control over the area. But Kanavi is just like, I'm going in. And they try their best, but it was just so disjointed again. And T1 is not the kind of team you just press R on to. They've always got a plan, they've always got a setup. And now the lead they had has ballooned into 4.5K.
Yeah, it's definitely something we've seen in the past before, that Jing can struggle into Bard, and I'm glad he called out the stasis, because Guma, if he's there in the back and he's actually dealing damage during the sweep, during the Emperor's Divide, like maybe that looks a little bit different, even from behind, but it just wasn't meant to be. Just the little things give T1 the favor, even after a big play from Zeka. And that was a fight without top laners, essentially. I mean, they were just fighting up in the top lane, and yeah, just in the 4v4, able to take it very one-sidedly, and might be looking at another one-sided game, trying to set something up here on a Faker, perhaps, as there was a guy in the bush, but guess who's also here? It is Owner. As Delight's here. And it is going to be Delight, and Kanavi coming in from the jungle. There's the big sweep, as everything being thrown at Faker, and they will get it done. But now Owner, pretty fed in his own right, able to take the one kill. And here comes Doran, the real threat on the team, as Zeus desperately trying to deal the damage into Owner. There's the ult forward, going to try to get into the Rift Herald, not quite able to, but does summon it as Pays and Guma make their way over, but Guma already pretty low. That's going to force HLE back with the Rift Herald also pushing.
I mean, this is just not a win for Hanwha at all. They end up trading even, but the charge comes through. Sakali shows up, and they even get an additional plate on top of the charge. There's just no angle here. They're looking for Pays. Oh, just a bit too short.
I mean, that was never going to work out. It feels like HLE are clutching at straws as Doran trying to flash and take out Guma. Instead, he'll have a slice to Zeus and a slice to Guma. And on top of it all, takes out Kanavi, takes them all 3 down. And now Doran 5-0 in this game.
I mean, Hanwha Life Esports are backed into a corner by T1 time and time again in this series. You know, in that fight next to Dragon, in this fight as well. It looks like, okay, Delight's like, well, I got to make something of this. They set this up, the Emperor's Divide hits, but the follow-up is just not great. And again, Keria is here with the stasis to buy space against Kanavi in live, nearly.
Looks like Zeka killed Faker in live.
And then from here, you're like, okay, we got Owner, but we can't really do anything else here. Pays is here, he's full health, and they've got the Silver Wave clear. The charge comes through from Doran, and what happens here, it gets even crazier because they're like, maybe we can make something happen on the Pays. They overextend here. The turret is dead. As okay,
we're not even gonna get to see it because in the replay, there's more kills happening, not just to champions but to turrets. And Doran hit 6-0. Zeus thought he was tanky. I guess not.
Hanwha Life Esports definitely decided they were gonna send it this game.
He almost died of that turret. Yeah, you know, especially that re-engage on a Pays when he's got barrier and spell shield up, like that is just never going to work.
And then
especially
like Doran,
not in the face of the Akali.
Yeah, Doran is like, all right then, so I guess I kill all of them. And then he did kill all of them. Look at his items.
And he's getting even more gold. Like, you talked about getting incremental leads and how good teams are doing it. I mean, Zeka might just be dead. Dodge there. Even the Zhonya's to come out, and Doran never even got turret aggro. He's still just dancing around, and he's going to be able to dodge away from this one for Owner to come in and clean up, and he might as well, as that'll be the one. It looks like Delight has his flash for now. And T1, they were playing with their food in game 1, or rather 2, but now they're really playing with it, as at least Kanavi is able to get the shutdown, and the turret's somehow still alive, and Kanavi's still going to die.
Well, this game is looking pretty over, Valdez.
I think Faker just dies again, by the way. Yeah. Everything's going right, except Faker keeps dying in the side lane.
It's okay, it's fine.
He might, actually, he does live. Okay.
Zeus can only sense him, but he didn't have any burrows set up to chase.
Yeah.
Okay, well, this Dragon is kind of like, hello, I'm open for the taking. T1, you guys have some prio. We're like, now I like to kill the objectives that are controlled by players. As you mentioned, Doran is able to absorb, or rather avoid, turret aggro this entire time. Gets the backflip away. Keria shows up. The Nocturnal comes out. They re-engage onto Zeka. Doran just layers in damage after damage after damage. Rooted, but again, no turret aggro here. In live, they are taking the Dragon. Finally, they're able to take Doran out. Pays is like, cool, but you have no turret. So I'll take the jungler, who continues to send it. But at this point, I mean, who could criticize Kanavi for trying to make desperate plays? Yeah. This game is certainly over.
If you're playing Jarvan like you're, you know, Olafs that get behind and they press their R button and then they run away. Like, if you're playing Jarvan like that, you might as well just surrender. So, nothing on Kanavi. It's just looks a little silly.
Kanavi just like cataclysms the minions. He's like, stay away from our base.
Defensive cataclysm.
I'm defending the base. Don't.
Yeah.
You can't walk out of this for a few seconds.
Look at all those plates they got in the bottom lane, too.
It's a lot of money that they have collected. They have 3 grubs for this as well, you know?
Uh-oh. Well, at least Zeus is here, and I think that should be enough to hinder Doran. Or maybe not. I don't know. It's a ton of damage, and he gets the kill! And the Cataclysm kind of looks defensive, but it's not helping anyone. And Doran picks up yet another one. Did have his streak ended by Kanavi, so maybe a little bit personal there.
Yeah, perhaps. I don't know if he's really too bothered by it, as Zeka has TP, but I don't know if he should use it. Maybe he should just, you know?
Yeah, Guma is extremely dead. Like, you cannot emphasize how dead he is more than that, as a nice shockwave comes in, gonna hit Zeka. And, well, yeah, Keria goes in for the kill. Delight goes down, and Zeus is very tanky, but not against this team, not when you're down 10,000 gold. And they really wanted to dive that, but Zeus does end up actually getting away. Stops the Baron take, I suppose, with that one.
You mean delays the Baron take?
Yeah.
As they
Stops
will
it momentarily.
start it. Yeah, I mean, technically they did stop.
Yeah.
And then started again. So, I mean, like, the delay is correct, but also the stopping is correct.
Yeah.
And, like, what do you do now as Hanwha Life Esports? This game is surely lost. It's a lot of confident plays from Hanwha, but some misjudging of these skirmishes, right? And it was in Game 2 a similar situation, right? Like, making that call to go in onto the Sylas, looking for that type of scrappy fight with Xin Zhao there as well. Really going on to the Xin Zhao more than the Sylas, even though they had the Ignite, as was pointed out by the desk. And then in this game, I mean, not this moment, because, I mean, from here, like, there's literally nothing you can do. And Zeka gets shockwaved, he just TP'd in. Doran's on top of him, Keria gets the kill. But it's some of the early to mid-game fights where they tried to force it, and they just fell flat on their face that leads to this position we're in now. That fight on the Dragon in particular was really the backbreaker, where Guma got stasis, and they tried to force that fight instead of, like, slow playing it, and it just is not working for them. Pays is on 3 items, 0 deaths. POM, interesting conversation to have after Doran's Kali game here, but I think it's probably just going to be owner for me.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I think that's very fair after what we've seen here in 3 games. Well, it feels like almost 2 full games, because these second and third games have kind of just been solo queue stomps. Like, this has not been what we expected after that very tense HLE victory in Game 1. Although, I don't know, because very good at snowballing are our best teams. You can get a lot of plates in this one.
Yeah.
As not quite able to make the combo work that time around, but able to stasis the turret at least, and Owner still has his flash, so he's able to get away, and that might just be it. As Doran doesn't see damage with 1 tick of his ult, and he's still getting in there, has his Zhonya's now, gets another shuriken, and just dies. So at the end of the day, not the cleanest dive, but I don't think T1 care.
Well, I think that's the end of this push, though.
Is it? I mean, okay. Able to get over the wall. Pays able to block most of that. Is no,
No, Guma, no!
Guma!
No, no.
Just leave. Just clear the wave. Okay. Well, T1 still won the fight, I guess. Maybe. Oh, Keria's ganking him. Oh, no. Once the best of friends. Now enemies on the rift.
Look at Guma's face as well. That bought some time for some respawns. The inhibitor falls.
Yeah.
There's just no damage here between this Nautilus and Jarvan, so low health bars means that T1 will stop the push. I think if they had played a little bit more carefully, the game would probably have ended. But Hanwha Life Esports still, you know, maybe they take a pickaxe and start chiseling away at that 15,000 gold lead. Delight?
Okay. Well, he has done a good job of delaying the backs.
TP.
That's a nice little tunnel
from
there.
Zeus, I mean, he wants to maybe...
They haven't powered recalls, but yeah, I mean, the amount of damage that Pace does at this point in time is kind of insane, guys. Oh man, the stasis as well on the TP coming in, and the follow-up combo really just dunking on them now. This is not looking pretty.
It is.
You're a T1 fan, of course.
So funny to watch like a bruiser try to kill a Fed 80 carry in this meta. Like, I'm gonna kill him, and Pace just walks away backwards.
All those 3 times.
Like, no, you're not gonna kill me. I mean, with the build here from Zeus, it wasn't gonna last that long, but he's been laning into an Akali. So that lifeline, you know, on the Maw, the magic resistance isn't gonna really be doing any favors there.
Yeah. Well,
I mean, I guess they do
17,000 gold.
Is it the same push as the last one? I mean, I don't think so. I think this is technically a new push.
It feels like version 2.
You could like
push, you know?
try to like connect the dots and say it's the same push, and in fact, they're not going to end because Zeka respawn.
Because there's a dragon sitting there saying, "Hey guys,
that dragon
right over here."
Multiple dragons this game have kind of been trying to remind T1 that they exist, but T1 has eyes only for Baron and for Hanwha Life Esports players. This is just a very heavy set of wallets.
Yeah.
10-ton wallet.
10-ton wallet. The combo comes in. And Owner's alone, by the way, but it doesn't seem to matter. I mean, they just don't have any damage, and everything in the kitchen sink is thrown at Doran.
All right, now going 1 by 1.
Yeah.
Again, maybe Hanwha Life Esports can win 5v1 5 times.
Oh, they almost got through Faker's shield there.
It was pretty funny at first, T1, but like, you know, let's take the dragon and let's focus up, you know.
That friend, he just keeps repeating the same joke. It's like, yeah, I mean, it was funny, but like, come on. We've heard it before.
Como was actually going to tell you guys you could skip review for this series for tonight, but now it's like, you know, you've raised his ire a little bit.
Yeah.
He's probably going to be like, all right, we're going to do an extra interview as well. Two players like, no, not the interview.
Laps around the stadium later tonight. You've earned it.
All right, well, surely this push ends the game.
Version 3, same push.
I mean, double super minion waves, not synced, but eventually showing up. Doran shows up as well with his Zonias. At the ready. Good luck with the defense on Life Esports.
Oh, that's going to be the engage once again. They find Guma, and he's got a target on his back. Down he goes to the Nocturne. And now, with a lot less tools to take down Doran, he can do whatever he wants. And the long-awaited end of the game is right before our eyes. Down will go the Nexus. This one only 28 minutes as T1 absolutely demolished HLE in game number 3. And it was not close at any point in time. As down it goes. T1 take the 2-1 tonight.
I mean, in game 1, Paze was caught multiple times. Hanwha Life Esports punished him, and they won the game. But I feel like everyone who's watching this series as a fan of either of these teams will not remember that game at all, but will remember this series as a stomp where T1 destroyed Hanwha 2 games in a row, and that's just kind of how best of threes go. Of course, a lot of Hanwha fans will try to hold that game 1 up and say, look, Paze had a few issues there. We were able to come back and take that one. But the next 2 games were so decisive that I think that history is written by the winners here, and the winners were T1. The last 2 games felt like they weren't even games, Valdez.
Yeah.
It's like the Genji series yesterday. Game 1, kind of interesting for a little bit. Game 2, absolutely not.
Yeah. And that happens more often than you would expect, actually, where, you know, the favorites coming into a series, although I guess T1 were the favorites. Like, I think our predictions did favor them coming into this one, but it should have been, you know, a close bout. And in terms of score, it was, but there were definitely some moments where it was like, oh, maybe, and then it's just like, oh no, that's exactly what we expected. Just the Giga Stomp. Eventually, they did give Keria Bard in game number 3 Fearless in 2026.
I think that
generally not a good idea.
There's definitely some style issues that HLE need to solve based on this, again, incredibly tough game against one of the strongest teams in the world and defending world champions, albeit with a roster adjustment. MVP of the World Finals was on the other side, but T1 just kind of dismantled them with very cautious and slow, methodical play, strong drafting, and then once they had a lead, Faker was zooming around on Silas, Doran was zooming around on Akali, and they could just really do no wrong. Watch this one back. We're skipping a bit ahead.
I love the organ that plays during the highlights package, by the way, the new song.
Yeah, it's like
it's like Phantom of the Opera.
Yeah.
It's very cool. Really sets the tone.
Sets the tone for a lot of paranoias.
And it doesn't last too long either. It's like a good 4 chords and then you're just into it. Yeah. And then we get into the song, which is a banger in general.
I think for Hanwha, resetting how they draft is a bit of a challenge, right? Because they have a different jungle player in Kanavi who has a bit more LPL style to him. They have Guma instead of Viper, right? So you can't just go, all right, we scale, we're going to play through Viper. Guma's a little bit more of a all-rounded AD carry. Like, stylistically, sometimes hard to pin down. In the past, with him and Keria, it was just crush 2v2, Faker roams, Owner goes bottom. We play that style, but it's very different for Zeka to play us out in Zeus than what they did all throughout last year. Whereas for T1, Paze just slots in, and everything else feels exactly the same.
Yeah, it really does. And even better, you know, at least this early on in the season. I like what Wadid was saying about Faker's laning phase. It really does feel like He's really on form right at the beginning of the year, which isn't always what you get from Faker, especially after the grueling schedule and all that. So, but
crazy
it's nice to see because everybody's, firing on all cylinders.
It's crazy, too, considering Faker played like the most League of Legends possible, went all the way to the end. And normally his wrists are getting pretty tired by that point, but he just ends up smashing his Doran.
We're still freaking out about damage bars in the Rek'Sai.
Yeah, look at how much of percentage of his damage is done the first 14 minutes compared to everyone else. I think Valdez is on to something.
But also after when he was laning into him anyway.
And also after when his team was 15,000 gold ahead. But yeah, he did
he
a
had
lot.
like 12 kills, yeah.
He might steal POM from Owner. I think that would be a crime.
Yeah.
But we've seen vote crimes before.
We have. It's pretty common. And it's going to be Faker.
It's a vote crime, yeah.
Just a different kind of vote crime. And to be honest, his rise was awesome. He just never got a chance to pop off because the rest of the team fell apart. And then Silas was obvious. Like, he was the POG with the old system, the POG of Game 2. And then his Game 3 was serviceable. So I think it's actually fun.
He had a great laning phase, and then, which one do you think is more difficult to execute of the Orianna Nocturne combo? The Orianna or the Nocturne?
The Orianna.
Harder for the Orianna?
Yeah.
I think so, too.
Because you have to time it,
Yeah.
At least we're going to have a space interview.
Booming. So, I mean, look, there's an argument for it. I liked Owner in all 3 games as well. The Rise, I think, is an angle you could definitely argue for.
Yeah. This is actually just winning for Global because we get Owner on the space instead. Right? Because if everybody had voted for Owner, he would have been on that stage. Although maybe we would have gotten Faker for the space interview.
You see some mid icons for Ox on the did over there. Might see some of those. Look, I'm happy with it. I honestly, even carrier votes I think are warranted here in this one.
Sure. I mean, it's kind of hard for him just because like he played Lulu and Melio. So it's like
he played Bard also.
He did play Bard, but I don't know.
His wild growths were pretty cool.
Diminishing returns on the Bard POMs, It's like, how many times are you going to get POM on Bard, True. Probably a lot. He already has, so. Yeah, T1 are pretty good still, right at the beginning of the season. Very, very, very scary stuff from them. HLE got to go back to the drawing board. But guys, we do have the interview ready. I'll throw it over to Deer for the translation.
Thank you very much, guys. This is Deer for the POM interview translation, joined by Faker on the side of T1. A big match between T1 and Hanwha. It was a crucial and intense one, but you came out on top. How does it feel? It was a 2-1 victory. I think it makes me even happier that we were able to pull off a victory in the end. And the entire series was full of action, so what do you think gave you the winning edge? I think I got really good sleep last night. And I think I was able to play really well. I just got good sleep that made us, gave me the win today. It's just that good quality sleep and good condition. And in Game 1, the enemy Vi was really tough to play against. But your Rise was amazing. Many talk about how Actualizer is OP, so how did it feel? Yeah, it's very powerful. I feel like I wasn't able to demonstrate the full potential of this item because I didn't really trade that much, but I think if we were able to fight more often, then I would be able to show and prove that it's actually really overpowered. And in Game 2, your Silas was absolutely fierce. So what was the feedback you guys got after Game 1? Just because our strategy that we had prepared didn't work? We didn't really have enough time to go over all the mistakes and all the shortcomings of Game 1. So we just really wanted to focus on what to do better in Game 2. And you guys played together during the Kespa Cup, but now that you guys are on the LCK Cup stage with your current roster, how did it feel? We have been preparing and going through a lot of scrims, and we're practicing a lot, so I'm sure that our synergy has been improving over time. And with T1's victory, the score between Baron and Elder Group is now 2-4. Anything you would like to say to Baron Group? You know, we are short. We're falling behind you guys, but you know, we'll be able to come right back up and bounce back into the game. Let's do it, guys. And your mindset for the rest of the group battle. You know, just like last year, I hope that we're able to go ahead and contribute to many wins as possible as T1. And that's the end of the interview with Faker, and back to the space. Thank you.